787.
787 departure frequency 95 will be 1257.
257, thanks.
Like that. Like that's coming in your mail.
Oh, Cliff was talking about
Coming
that.
to your mailbox soon.
Yeah, Cliff was talking about that.
It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
It's like at first I didn't like it. I don't know. I could see where I like it, but I don't like getting bothered. Like useless emails.
Most of it's bullshit.
It sucks. How unique New York.
Of course, the children are fighting.
Can't even hear them.
I heard them a couple times, just barking. They'll be asleep by the time we. Alrighty.
Oh, there they are.
Well, welcome back from your long journey.
Are we going? We're rolling.
Yeah. I've decided to just
That's fine.
X-May on all the
It's probably better. It's just
start. Well, they're not real. Most of the commercials I do, they're not real, so it just kind of takes up time. And with the exception of the On It, save a little bit. I had what did I have? I had an affiliation link, and so if people ordered something off On It, I got paid for it. Well, they quit doing that, but actually people were ordering things. Aubrey ordered the 25-pound mace, and then a couple people ordered supplements. So I got paid maybe $40.
Oh yeah, that ain't bad.
Yeah, but then they stopped doing it. So I don't know. But besides that, it's kind of like I start with Cody. I just kind of started to trade into
Can you
it.
turn me down a little?
Turn you down.
These. Just a little loud.
I'm not quite sure how to do that.
Okay. Or, maybe it's fine. I don't know.
How about now?
It's about the same. I don't know. It's all right. Put in earplugs under the headphones.
How about now?
That's better.
Okay.
I think it's better.
Me.
Okay, please.
There's negative 5 decibels. That's. Hey, can you hear me?
You want to do something about those or just leave them?
I don't know what to do.
I don't know either. Should have left her at home.
They're learning how to open doors.
Well, everybody, today's guest on the SciFi And Friends podcast is Mr. Casye Seifert. I received one of the greatest compliments. I won't drop any names, but I received one of the greatest compliments I've ever received, and it was something along the lines of somebody was kind of being introduced to me and kind of getting to know me. And it was like, yeah, you're Casey, right? I was like, oh yeah, that's me. Like, she looked at me and she's like, you look like a Casye Seifert. And I was like, is there any greater compliment that you could receive other than you look exactly like who you are? Boom, perfect. It was awesome. I really enjoyed that. Other than that, there's a disconnection from who we think we are and who we actually are, and maybe there isn't even an actual, who we are. What is we? Is it the physical, biological meat and bone sack that walks around? Is it the brain that's coming up with this jargon, all this nonsense that I'm spitting right now? Is it personality? I don't know if these questions have been answered, but I think most people would say it's the accumulation of all those things, mixed into one big boiling pot, and that's what makes a person a person. You know what I'm saying? So when somebody says you look like who you are, what if I drop 40 pounds or gain 40 pounds? Do I still look like who I am because that's me? Or am I not that person because that's not who I identify with? And how important is identification with yourself? If somebody says you look like a Trevor Burrows, should I be offended that I am not Trevor Burrows? Or should I think maybe I need to tweak myself just slightly and become more of the person that I am being perceived as? Does that make sense? Probably not. I think it's best to which is going back to the original thought here of, I was flattered. I was flattered when I was told that, and I think that's I would rather be, as much as me as I can be, rather than somebody else. So anyway, rant over.
What are you talking about?
Guess you'll get to hear it.
Sounded good.
I guess you'll get to hear it when you re-listen to it.
When I have to edit this.
Yeah.
Actually, Caleb's going to start editing for me.
Nice.
I'll save some time.
You'll get to listen to a bunch of nonsense.
Because to make 100 episodes by the end of the year is about an average of 2 a week, which is pretty hefty.
That's hefty.
That is pretty hefty, and I'm already behind. I did that calculation probably like a month ago, and obviously the documentary took off. I got a little bit sick at that point.
I was going to ask about that. How's the progress coming?
Good. Did you obviously saw the trailer?
I saw the trailer,
yeah.
But I figured, I didn't know if you two were going to kind of take some time off, take a week off or something, just kind of relax and not worry about it for just a minute.
I was forced to take a week off. I wasn't going to. I was going to do other things. Like I wasn't going to think about the documentary, but then this like digestive ailment hit me. So then it was almost like a forced week off. Like the starting Monday.
It's probably good.
I mean, I think
get your mind off of it for a while and kind of come back in a little fresher rather than still buzzing off of filming in the casino.
Yes. No, it was a big chore to film that whole month, and like we did with the crew that we had and the time and the time frame, and so much of it was learning and so much of it was failing, and I definitely needed this last week off. So I guess my body just forced me to do it, so I did. But yeah, Caleb took a little bit of time off, and he came down because he didn't have like half the footage because we kept running out of space. So by the end of it, he had about 4 terabytes. I had about 4 terabytes. So when he was cutting that trailer, he didn't even have like a lot of the Red Oak stuff that we had shot.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, okay, so I had to like compile like certain shots. I'm like, yeah, put that in the trailer.
Bloody steak.
Yeah, no bloody steak.
bloody
flaming steak. Flaming.
Yeah, flaming steak probably looks better than bloody steak.
It could have been cooked a tad bit longer.
Like 3 more minutes or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that was.
I wouldn't complain about it if I was served it
Really?
at like a restaurant.
Good eating it?
I don't think so. I'm not that guy. Like I understand that sometimes you get your food and it's not what you asked for. So it's like I was kind of hoping it was going to be like this, but I'm usually hungry enough that it's just like bring me out just anything that comes out of the kitchen. If you put it in front of me, that's probably what I'm going to eat for the day or whatever.
I think it's a power play for most people.
Yeah,
like they
see an opportunity.
This is not correct.
Right. Even if it is.
Oh, it's totally correct.
Right. It's like perfect.
Right. It's just the first time that day or that week
that they
month,
get a say in something. Yeah.
That they're say like I cannot. It's not a good idea to be like, no, that looks medium rare. I have said that, and sometimes they back down. They go okay, and sometimes they get really pissed
because they know their steak.
Exactly.
Not their waiter that works in a steakhouse.
Sees steak every freaking day.
All day long, gets all different kinds of orders.
It's like if you go to your doctor and he prescribes you, and you're like, here you go, and you're like, no,
hang on, I was hoping for these Xanax, not.
No, you need these.
Yeah, I did your blood work. You don't even know what your blood work is. I did your blood work. I know what you need.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's similar to that, sort of.
Yeah,
that's kind of a stretch, but it works.
It's a little bit of a stretch. Steakhouse to hospital.
Yeah. So I'd say we just get right to it. You went on a
before that we were filming casino stuff, right?
Right.
And then that was kind of like because I'm in between jobs,
right?
So like that was a gig. That's kind of what I consider it, I guess. Just a gig, but that kept me busy for a couple weeks,
right?
And got a nice little pay off that. And I was thinking, well, I'm not working, so I should take this and go do something with it. And I don't want to do anything crazy and like go to Indonesia. That was the first pick.
That's what you started at.
That's what I started at. I was like, where can I go that is where can I stretch the dollar the farthest, basically? It was like Indonesia, there's beaches and there's, they live for tourism.
Right.
So you're just going to get served, day and night, everything you need for, pennies, beer for 20 cents or whatever.
Oh, wow.
So stuff like that. And I was thinking, man, I'll just do that. of course, you got to get there first, and that was
which is the chore.
That was the chore. It was like, if you could get there, man, you could hang out there for a while.
Like what, $1,200 flight or something?
Oh yeah, I couldn't find one cheaper than $1,200.
Oh wow.
Or so, it was like nothing below 1,000 to get.
But it's out there, nowhere.
I mean, it was like connecting flights, overseas flights, and when I went to Europe, we went to Kansas City, and then we went to like Georgia, and then from Georgia, Atlanta, I think, and then we went from Atlanta, and that was a 13-hour flight.
Jeez. 13
hours. Like, we had trips going to the grandparents' house. It was like 4 hours, bunk up, like shack up. Right. It's gonna be a trip.
As a kid, it was.
As a kid, it was. Yeah, it was pretty brutal. It never felt like you were gonna get there. Now it's like this trip was 5 hours.
Right. We went to that family reunion, and I took the idea of this is gonna be a chore. Like back in the day, where mom would drive and you'd be in the back seat, and you take a nap, and he'd wake up and still be driving.
Still be driving.
But both ways, I was so surprised about how fast it went. Like incredible. Like
I turned on some podcasts.
Yep.
It was no big deal.
Nothing.
Yeah, it was no big deal. I agree. But so that was 13 hours to England, to London. And so Indonesia, I don't even know, would you go the other way? Would you take off on the west coast instead of the east coast?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It something crazy like that. But yeah, it was a lot of money. It was more money than I wanted to spend to do that. So I was thinking, well, all right, I'll just keep it, domestic. I'll keep it within the States and see what I can do there. And, me and the buddies have taken out the kayak many times, just like on Spring River. And it's always, this is a problem, not a problem, but this is a thing I have. Even when I go camping or something, I don't like that you go and you like pick a spot and you don't go anywhere. Like I like putting up camp and I like taking down camp and then moving and then doing the same.
Right.
And so like we would do these kayaks or whatever. Is that anything?
No.
We would do these kayaks or whatever, and we're just cruising. We're just like slowly cruising around Spring River. It's fun, and
it's God's place.
It's God's place. It's nice for whatever, Sunday evening, get out on the water a couple hours, and you're right next to it, so you can kind of feel the water, whatever.
Right.
But I liked the idea, and we've talked about it before, but everybody works weekday jobs, so it's hard to get something set up. But we've talked about before taking like a kayak camp trip, a couple nights out, you kayak to wherever you're going. So basically I thought I'll just do like a float trip, an extended float trip, like you normally would. Somebody would go park at the falls and then you float down to, wherever.
But you stretched it out between states.
Well, no, I don't know. It's kind of a long story, I guess. But like, it was at first going to be like a 3-week trip.
Oh,
long.
Shit. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And because I wanted to find a decent river. And then some rivers like flow north, some flow south. It's weird. I don't really know.
How does a river flow up and over those mountains?
So I had to like find out like which way the rivers are flowing, what river is good, and I picked the worst river apparently. We'll get into that. But
funny enough, not to interrupt you too much here, but Jesse texted me when you were on your trip, and he goes, "What in the fuck is Casey doing?" And I kind of said like, "Oh, I said like a mini spirit quest, because and you're probably gonna go into it, but it was just so quick, at least on my end, where I got like a text message. I'm thinking about going on this canoeing trip.
I just knew I had to do it, like,
because then suddenly you were on it.
Well, if I don't do it, like I said, I just got that phone call on the trip, that like, come on in. It's like I wanted to do it and get it out of the way before I start working again, and then it's like you're not going anywhere.
So, but I didn't know what to tell people, and a lot of people asked me like, "What's he doing out there?" I'm like, "I guess he's floating." Like I didn't know. It's the same with like when you quit Fletcher.
It's like a camp trip,
right?
I don't know. Just I like camping,
right? That's what I told him.
It's like somebody going to Branson or something, riding roller coasters. Like I'm going camping. That's my vacation,
But his text message was like, well, he picked the worst time of the year to do it. He might as well just walk the damn thing.
No. I would have done way better with like waterproof boots. And, like if I had a four-wheeler would have been way better. Anyway, we're going to get into all that. But I was at first going to go. I don't know why I picked the Arkansas River. I think it was just I thought, man, a river of that stature.
Yeah.
Because we could go to Spring River right now and like dive. You wouldn't want to, but dive like deep down into it.
Right.
There's space. There's water.
Right.
It's a river.
Depth. Yeah.
And I'm thinking, it's the Arkansas River. Why wouldn't there be?
Right.
You know, like it wasn't really even a thought in my mind. And so I was thinking, all right, you know, I'm gonna make a long trip out of this. I think the whole thing's like 1,500 miles, but I didn't want to do the whole. I didn't want to do the whole thing, but I wanted to do like an extended, long time. And it starts in Colorado, goes through Kansas, goes down to Oklahoma, and I think over to Arkansas.
Okay.
It's kind of like the path of the river. And I think it eventually goes into the Mississippi, or something like that. I might be wrong about that, but it definitely goes from Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, into Arkansas. The whole thing's the Arkansas River.
Yes, it sounds like it'd be huge.
Yeah.
Enormous.
You know, I'm thinking, I should have taken notes just to have notes here because I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of myself. But so when I was going to do the long trip, I hit up Hayden Wilson because he lives in Colorado, and so I was like, let's get his take on it. He's like, you know, all things Colorado.
Yeah.
So let's get his take on it. So like, hey man, you know, can I pick your brain real quick? Yeah, sure. So I said, well, I'm thinking about doing this, you know, kayaking trip on the Arkansas River. He's like, the Arkansas River is one of the most dangerous rivers in America. People have died on it this year, and like more people than any other river have died on the Arkansas River.
Oh God.
I was like, what? You know, this is after like planning and,
Right.
and you know, doing research and stuff. So well, crap, you know, so I kept messaging him stuff, and we talked a little more, and so I started researching like where are these parts I need to avoid.
Right.
Well, they're basically all in the mountains.
Colorado.
Yes.
Where it's like river rafting.
Right. Well, where there's elevation and you're gonna go down. You know, it's like there is a raging river because it's you know, gravity. And so I was thinking, well, man, if I do one in Kansas, then it's flat.
Right.
It can't be that. There's no waterfalls.
No.
I think there's like dams and stuff in Wichita, but I didn't go through Wichita.
Right.
So I started in Derby, which is a little bit south of Wichita. But like, so I went from like Pueblo, Colorado, which is, I don't know, a couple miles. I'd say maybe an hour into Colorado or something. Yeah. It's like the first big city in Colorado, like coming from Kansas.
Right.
From what I could tell. And so I was going to start there, and then it was just like, that's just too long. And so I, you know, eventually just kind of worked my way, shorting it down. And so I put out some Craigslist ads of rideshare, you know, rideshare. It's like under the community thing. It's just basically like, sometimes it's, hey, I'm going out to Oregon, you know, if anybody
needs.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
If anybody needs a ride or wants to help with gas, you know, just trying to help out or whatever. And then there's some that's like, I need to go from here to here, and you know,
we'll pay,
we'll help with gas, can help drive.
Right.
You know, we can meet for coffee before, so we can just kind of talk and make sure that we want to spend 12 hours together or whatever, you know. So I did a bunch of those, and I got you know, not a bunch of replies, but I got definitely a couple replies.
Did you put like a picture of you in your kayak?
No, I just said it's me and my kayak, and kind of just like a brief description of kind of what my plan was, just to not to like ease their minds, but I'm not just like randomly trying to bum a ride. Like I have a plan to do this with or whatever. But didn't really work out. And a guy quoted me, and then I was like, well, I'm gonna change, because he quoted me from the Pueblo spot. And I was like, well, I'm gonna change it or whatever. And I cut like, I don't know, like 400 miles off the trip, and it was the same price. I was like, that doesn't make sense, you know? Why would I?
What a douchebag.
Yeah, I don't know. He's like, well, you know, based off of whatever. It's like, no, you're not. I don't like what you're doing with this here. So I just. So then I started looking at car rentals, and there I was gonna do. Where was it? It was not Hutch, close to Hutchinson.
Mm-hmm.
It was like Hutchinson to Derby, or maybe Hutchinson to Arkansas City, something like that. It wasn't Hutchinson. It was close to Hutchinson, but they both had Enterprise. So it's basically like I'm looking for an Enterprise rent-a-car, and I did
what city has this?
Right. Well, what city has it on the Arkansas River?
Okay.
So because I need to do a one-way drive,
mm-hmm.
and then float back to my truck so I can drive home. So I tried to find, you know, which one. So I do everything. I find the city. Here's where I want. All right, now I'm going to book it. Getting ready to book it. Oh, Enterprise. I don't even like giving them a shout out. They're dog shit. I will stand by that. Enterprise sucks. But so I'm like getting everything ready, type it all in. Here's what I want. Here's what I want to do. Okay, go. It's like there's no cars available at these locations or whatever. This location. It's very vague. Like you can call this 1-800 number. Like,
how could there be no cars available?
Like I don't know. I need like one car out of this spot, and I'm going to take it to this spot and leave it. I don't need another car at this spot or something. I need one car to go from here to this spot. Right. Why do you have an Enterprise?
Aren't you a car rental company?
Right. Oh, it was stupid. So finally, it turned out that from Derby to Ponca City, which is in Oklahoma, it's about 70 miles, 70 road miles, 100 river miles apart. And so I thought, okay, I'll do that. And then I did the math of what's the average speed of a kayak. It's about 3 miles an hour. Huh. And so I was like, all right, if I paddle for 8 hours a day at 3 miles an hour, dude, I was on pace. I was ready for it. I could have done it. The second day I did about 5 or 6 hours. Huh. But a lot of that was dragging, so that sucks. But yeah, if I paddle for 8 hours a day at 3 miles an hour, and that's about 24 miles a day. So it was like a little over 4 days.
Right.
It's like, all right, I could do that. 4 days. We'll say 5, just in case I stop, just in case I don't paddle all day, in case people are swimming and I stop to talk to them or whatever. None of that. So I was expecting to be gone about 4 to 5 days.
Right.
And so basically it was at the point of like, I really want to do this. I need to do it now if I want to do it before these phone calls start coming in and I need to take them. And so then I booked the trip.
How'd you get your rental car?
I drove to Ponca City. So I drove to Ponca City. I think I picked it up at like 8:30. It's a 3-hour drive, so I left about 5.
You went to Enterprise?
Yeah, in Ponca City.
Oh, you just didn't do it online. You just went in.
No. You make your reservation or whatever.
Oh. And
then you go in and it's like, hey, I'm here. And I didn't even know, because it was all online. Uh-huh. So I get there and I'm like kind of nervous. And, we do this stuff. And I was like, you could see my truck from where the office was. I was like, I need to transport that kayak. Is there anything that you guys have that I could transport that with? And like, I didn't know if they'd be like, we got policies against that or anything, And then that's when they were like, well, we have this Grand Caravan has whatever,
some
like
space on the top.
Yeah, roof, not even a roof rack, like roof straps or whatever. And I was like, all right, if you guys are cool with it, then that's what I'll do. And thank goodness I brought my ratchet straps on that trip or whatever. Because it was like everything that went with me in the Grand Caravan, that's mine. I got to take it with me through the whole trip.
Right.
So 1, I got to make sure I don't forget anything, and 2, I got to make sure I don't take anything that I don't need. That's just going to add weight and all that. And I was thinking, well, shoot, all right, I'll have 2 ratchet straps. They were just the little ones.
Easy to bundle up.
I thought, yeah, they won't be too bad. They aren't too heavy, I mean, once your bag starts getting 20, 30, 40 pounds, it's like those ounces matter.
Right.
Those little things that add up, they matter. And of course, as usual, I overpacked, so it was already heavy, and I didn't need any extra weight. But yeah, so I drove to Ponca City. That's a delicious coffee.
Wonder who made it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Starbucks.
Starfucks.
Drove to Ponca City. You just watched some of the footage. A little GoPro with me.
Oh, that's cool footage.
It was pretty cool. There's nothing like super awesome in it. Like the fish were so close to me, and sometimes there was like schools of fish under me. Sometimes I had a few of them like tap the boat to where I don't know. You got to be kind of prepared, because if
the big fish taps your boat and it flips you,
it's like
it'll eat you.
There's some kayaks. I don't know. I'm not kayak aficionado enough to know, but like I've ridden in a sit on, which is what mine is. So you kind of just sit on it, and then there's sit in,
right?
Kind of get in it, and it's like the sit in that I've been in. when you start kind of going over, there's almost like some pushback, some buoyancy on the side that you're going over with.
Oh, okay.
On mine, it's like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. The more you
Right.
the more you go, the harder
It is to get back to the
yeah,
middle.
right. So as soon as you start going, you got to get back before it
Just
like
goes.
throws you. You know?
Huh.
And then you have a 20 or 30 pound bag in the back that is not perfectly center. So like when I would drag it, a lot of the times it would be like, going one, like leaning one way. So I'd have to kind of readjust it, put the straps on a little different or whatever. Now, okay, so I drove Ponca City, load up the kayak, drive. Yeah, it was like an hour and a half, I guess, something like that. And drive to Derby, stop at Derby. Guy comes out, looks at the car and everything. He's like, "Can I give you a ride anywhere?"
Oh.
And I was thinking, like, I was planned, but not planned to like a T. Like I was even asking Caleb that day, like, "Do you know of any public access points to the Arkansas River?" And of course he's like, I don't know. I can't help you with that. I don't do that. And so I asked this guy. He's like, "Do you need a ride anywhere?" I said, "Well, do you know where any public access points are to the Arkansas River?" It kind of, I don't usually work this branch. And then we're walking to the car for him to inspect it. I was like, "Oh, well, there's my stuff," and there's a kayak and a big camp bag, Right. He's just like, "What?" Like, he couldn't wrap his head on what's going on. I was like, I'm gonna float down back to Ponca City where I drove this beast from, Right. He kind of chuckled. He's like, That's what this is all about." I was like, yeah, that's a plan. He's like, "Oh, that's a new one for me," or whatever. And basically like, "Well, let me make a phone call or something. I got a buddy, Caleb wasn't here, but just to get him away from me, I was like, I got a buddy in Derby, and I'm gonna give him a call, and if I can't figure anything out, I'll come back in there and I'll get a ride from you." And he was like, "All right, that's cool." So I go to Google Maps, kind of look around. There's a bridge close that is the Arkansas River. It's like the 83rd Street Bridge in Derby. And so it's like, all right, I can get there. So kind of hang out. I think I had like a tuna packet, kind of gets a little fuel in me or whatever. And I take off. And so I'm dragging my kayak, which turned out to be detrimental to the whole trip. I think I should have checked it after I pulled it off the van, but I was thinking, it's just strapped to the top. Right. Like, probably fine. And, it was like 50-50 maybe, like 50% grass. Anytime there was grass or something, I'd drag the kayak in the grass, which is another difference between sit on and sit in. The sit in, you can kind of like, it almost has like a better grip where you can walk with it. Like you can hang on to it. The sit in is just, it's almost like a board. You can't like get your whole arm around it. Right. There's just not really many great.
It's closer to like a canoe.
Well,
it's not a canoe, but it's more of.
It's like lower sides than a canoe, though.
Right.
I mean, it's like a mix between a canoe and a longboard or something, or like a surfboard or something, Right. But so I'm dragging it. Finally, I see the bridge. Like, all right, I'm sweating good. It's hot. Finally, see the bridge, and I'm filming all this and everything, and see the bridge. There's no, like, it definitely was not an access point or anything. So I'm like going through these, tight knit woods, these like brush and stuff, like dragging this kayak. I got my bag's getting caught on twigs and stuff. Then there's like that under bridge, big rocks.
Yeah.
So I'm like going up and over those, and on those I carried the kayak. I carried my bag and stuff down, came back up, and then picked my kayak up, and like carefully walked it down or whatever. So I'm down there. I'm ready to go. All this time, all this planning, stress and everything. Like, let's do this. And all right, before I leave, I'll do one last check of everything. Flip over the kayak. I mean, there is a hole that I could about put my fist in. And I was like, are you, like, at this point I'm stranded.
Right.
Unless I go back and pay to drive back down to my truck, I'm stranded.
Right.
And I don't have like a car that I can just zip. I stop at Derby Walmart, but it's like a couple miles away from where I was
Did you think
at.
about buying another kayak? Like, you bought that at Walmart. I'm sure they would have another kayak there.
They would have had one. Man, it's a possibility. Like, I could have. It was like a, I'm trying to think of like there's a battle between time because I need to get back at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like I need to start this so I can get back, and I'm eager to start. And I mean, maybe the best I could have done was get like a marker and a cardboard and put $100 and put it there. Hopefully somebody would just be like, oh, that's a cheap kayak. Sell it and then go to Walmart and then buy, a cheap one or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. There was a lot that went into it. And there was like a back portion of the kayak that I didn't have. So like it wasn't even a full set of kayak, which, 100's way cheaper than what I bought it for, but it wasn't that. It was like you said, it was Walmart and everything, so it wasn't that big of a deal. No, I was thinking, like, how do you fix that plastic? And I thought the hull, HULL, the hull of the boat was like this thick, sturdy.
You think?
I mean, you would think it's like pretty durable, pretty sturdy,
But I mean, against super hot cement,
maybe
I could just see it eating it away,
Maybe.
especially being hot.
Yeah.
And real gravelly, like just
Right.
real rough, just slowly.
I don't know. I mean, I thought like it would take a while for something like that to happen. But sure enough, it happened or whatever. So now I'm like, well, crap. I'm already thirsty. My second major mistake is I didn't get a life straw. That totally, it didn't matter in the end because I couldn't have made it anyway. The water was too low, but
Right.
It would have helped out big time. Especially when I don't want to give any spoilers. So now I'm, okay, I got to figure out something. I can't go. It's going to sink. I mean, it's going to sink right away.
Right.
And so I literally like jogged back into town with nothing on.
You just left it.
I left my bag, left everything there. I thought, man, it was like there was construction on one side, so you could only get down there from one side of the bridge. And like I said, that side was like twigs and like it's a pain to get down there. So I thought if I'm quick, shouldn't be a big deal.
Well, how you gonna get that shit out of there too?
Yeah, I mean,
if it's tough to get down there, it's gonna be tough to get all that stuff out.
And I left my kayak upside down, so somebody is like, "Oh, a kayak!" They're gonna see this hole in it. That's like we can't take off with it or whatever.
Right.
The bag, maybe, but there's like clothes. There's not really. I mean, there's not a bunch of stuff.
Right.
Bunch
No
of camp,
iPads.
No. It was like camp food and stuff.
Right.
Whatever. So I jog back up, and I'm like looking on Google Maps. I mean, thank goodness for technology in that sense, because like if I was doing this in the 90s or something, it's a guessing game.
Yeah.
Which direction to go, what's in what direction. So I looked on my maps, and it was like the closest thing I could see was a Walgreens. And I was thinking maybe Walgreens will have something. So I go there. By the time I'm there, I'm like filthy sweaty. I mean, just drenched, and because I'm running,
Right.
jogging through Derby, trying to
Who is this guy?
trying to get there. I get there, buy coconut water, I buy another big jug of water, and then I'm like looking around, see what they have. And basically, the only thing they have is Gorilla Glue. So I was like, time to
Make it work.
time to see what Gorilla Glue is all about, because they brag, like, oh, we're the craziest glue ever. Like, there was super glue. There was a hot glue gun, which I thought that would be perfect, but nowhere to plug it in.
Right.
Maybe I could have bought it and then dragged the kayak back or something. I don't know.
But in the moment, your algorithms are going through all that. Like, well, I could get the hot glue gun, probably the best bet, but I don't have a plug-in or anything.
Right.
And your time is running out. Like, now it seems easy to like, oh, I should have done that. But in the moment, there's all those things going on.
And I want to be, like the least amount of hindrance on the people. So like, I don't want some store clerk that's getting paid minimum wage to have to make a decision on their job of like, do you care if I drag my kayak in here and use your plug-in just so I can, like, it's not really what we're about. This is Walgreens or whatever,
I guess bad.
Right. So I don't know. I was like trying to not be a nuisance or a burden to anybody, and whatever. So I thought, all right, this is Gorilla Glue. So I buy it, slam the coconut water, slam the water. I get back, jog back, and I start sealing it up like best I can. Here I'm like cussing at myself, and like I made it all this way. I am ready to depart, and to start, and I can't. So I'm like gluing it up and everything, and I read the bottle. It's like takes about an hour for it to like really seal up and everything. All right, do it. And as I'm kind of waiting, it's like it's one of those bottles that's like peel back for further instructions. And it's like at 1 hour, it'll be 80% bonded. For a full 100% bond, it needs to sit for 24 hours.
Oh shit!
Oh my God, are you kidding me? And it's not like it's gonna be. It's not like I'm gonna be kayaking. It's gonna be like next to me. It's underneath.
Right.
It's in the water.
Right.
Where it's like
something essential.
Yeah. Oh, it's the most essential part of the boat. The most essential part. Because if the ass end goes under, there's like my phone. There's
your pack.
Yeah, my GoPro battery and memory cards and stuff is like not good. So it had to be good. So I'm there for a while. I kind of hanging out under this bridge, letting it seal. About an hour goes by. I'm like, I'm going. I gotta go. Like I'm ready to start. I want to camp tonight. Whatever. So I start going. Yeah, I think the first day there was quite a bit of dragging. And there's handles in the front of the kayak and the back of the kayak. Mm-hmm. If I drag from the front, then that bottom end is ruined, is dragging on rocks and sand and all that other crap. So I'm like conscious of that, but I'm thinking it's Gorilla Glue, man. It's fine. So I go for, I think the first day was about 3 hours of drag kayak. And then all of a sudden, like one time, like I look over the edge and water is way too close to the side of the kayak. And I look back and sure enough,
bubbling.
Oh, it's like the back's going down and my bag is right there. So I jump out and I like try to lift it up, but it's full of water, so it's super heavy. And I basically just kind of I drag it over to like a sand dune thing, flip it over, and it's like toast. Like it's back to normal. The hole is showing, and the Gorilla Glue is completely gone. And actually, that one, I brought some electrical tape with me, so I glued it up under the bridge, and then like piece by piece,
right,
electrical tape, and then side, like electrical tape to support the electrical tape, and stuff like that. It was all gone, all of it.
Wow.
I mean, it was back to bare. And I was like, it's getting later in the day. I've been driving all day.
Yeah.
Been doing this for like 3 hours. It was like maybe 5 or 6. So, a couple hours of daylight still, but you got to figure out something. And so now I start looking around, which was another, not issue, but another thing I needed to figure out was I was thinking all along the Arkansas River, I bet each side is private property. The river's public, but I bet each side is private property, which I doubt they would want a bum,
right?
Camping on their stuff or whatever. So I'm like looking around, and I guess I left this little detail out. I right before I left the truck with the first rental car, I had my bare butt tent, or not tent, my hammock, bare butt hammock, and my Four Seasons tent.
Right.
So I was ready to set up tent and have a nice little space, or hammock. Well, my bag's heavy and it's awkward having this tent on there.
Yeah.
So I made the call right as I was leaving with the rental. I'm leaving the tent. I'll go hammock the whole time for the whole trip or whatever. So I left the tent. So now I have to find a place.
Two trees
somewhat close,
right,
to a rock, something, to hold my weight, half of my weight, I guess, and have it close enough to where this hammock can, whatever. And luckily, there's like the place I stopped, the ground, it's hard to explain. It's like there was a tiny little dirt mud beach, I guess. So there wasn't even a place for my tent.
Right.
Like it would have been soaking wet.
Right.
It was just all mud. And so a hammock was perfect because it was off the ground between two trees and I could hang out and watch the river or whatever. But so I pulled my kayak into the sand or whatever, looked around like, all right, I guess this place will have to do, and kind of found a little nook, little crevice thing where I put up the hammock. I went without a fire for a long time, and then like around 11 o'clock, I couldn't really sleep and stuff, so I was like, oh, I'll go ahead and I'll start like a little fire. And so that was, I guess, my first night. That was basically it. I redid the glue
on the hole
before going to bed.
So it'd get it'd
get all night, nice and strong, sturdy or whatever. And, I don't know. I didn't really have like anything any like meals prepped or anything. I just had like tuna and peanut butter, some bars.
Just survival type
Yeah,
stuff.
just
High calories.
Yes, high calories, high carb, high fat, all that. Had all, you know, that. So I snacked on that a little bit, and you know, ended up going to bed. Wake up before the sun's coming up, but it's getting brighter. Slept pretty good in the hammock, and did a little video before I took off, and I shoved out maybe like 6 or 6:30, pretty early. Like
Sun's up though.
sun's not beyond the trees, but bright enough, plenty bright enough that I can see.
Right.
And this is where the life straw would have came in very handy, because the first day when I got on the water, like when I first got on, it was like that lukewarm bath water. Like that's what their temperature was, like kind of warm. When I ended, I mean, it was like warm to hot water.
Jeez.
The whole river, like all of the water. So then when I get on in the morning, it's like cool, like
Okay.
beautiful.
After a night, it kind of cools down.
Cools way down.
Huh.
Cools way down. So it would have been amazing to dip in a cup, stick in the life straw, chug,
Right.
stay perfectly hydrated, no problem.
Start the day like that.
Right. Start the day like at least from like 6 to noon, you could stay completely hydrated. Don't touch any of your cooking water or your coffee water or anything. And I had like an instant coffee pack, and I just put it in a little Yeti can thing and
Shook it up.
just had it cold. Like just had cold coffee. That sucked, but I had to get my fix somehow. But any questions so far? Any?
I mean, so when you woke up in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
what were your thoughts on the canoe? Or I mean the kayak.
Yeah, interrupt me anytime to ask questions. But what do you mean? What my thoughts?
Like when you looked at the hole, did you go, "Oh, excellent! Like this hole is fixed once more. Maybe it'll last me another night at least." You
Prayers, lots of prayers.
But when you looked at it, did you think that? Did you go, "Shit, I'm not sure."
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. It was just hope,
Oh,
hope and prayers. Please.
so it wasn't too much confidence when you woke up.
No. More because like you had all night Gorilla Glue. You had all night. It wasn't 24 hours, but you had a good, I don't know. If I stopped at, we'll say 7. I mean, about 12 hours, I guess. Around 12 hours.
So that should be 90%.
It should be stinking on there. Like, basically, the second day there was like a rule of, because I think what happened on the first day was, one, it just didn't seal very well. I only had an hour, and then it's
In the water.
underwater.
Right.
And there was a few times where you're going, and it's like you're still moving, you're dragging, but you're still moving. It's like you can kind of fight through that,
Right.
and maybe it's just like a quick little hill. So instead of getting out and getting back in, which is kind of a pain, you don't want to keep doing that. It slows you down.
Right.
I walk way slower than a decent, just a simple kayak pace is pretty. You're moving.
Yeah.
You're moving pretty good. You walk, especially carrying that thing. It's not very fast.
No.
It's like sloppy,
Nor
like
pleasant.
plop steps.
Yeah.
Not pleasant. Getting back in, it's like the back of my legs, like here, because you kind of gotta put one leg over the front end where it's a little thinner.
Yeah.
And then fall back kind of into your seat, and then pull your legs up into it. My shoes are soaking wet, so I'd hold them up out of the water, and then put them in. And then eventually, you do that 4, 5, 6 times. Your whole seat is soaked. There's like you're sitting in water, which is fine. It wasn't a big deal. It's hot and everything.
Right. Sweating so much that you're already sitting in a puddle of water.
Yeah. And so it wasn't that big of a deal, but it's like it's just more weight. And
Kelsey's home.
oh, and so I don't know, where was I? Second day.
And I remember getting a Snapchat that said day 2 still alive.
Yeah, and I was kind of like, I think that was the highlight of the trip, was day 2, because it was like I said, I like to move, I like to like set up and then move.
Right.
So it was a deconstruction of the camp, which is kind of fun. I don't know, because it's fun turning a space of like pure nature, of untouched. There's like deer tracks and stuff, and I saw a lot of deer. And it's untouched, and I like making it my little space, my little human camp space,
Right.
and then taking it all down and returning it back to untouched.
It's strange because I did that once. I only camped in one spot a year ago, 2 years ago, can't quite remember, in Elk City. Same way. I had the bare butt hammock and everything, and it was cool because some of the trees they weren't just trees anymore. Like they were like, that's my hang up my wet clothes tree. That tree is I put my pen on that tree. I don't know, they become a lot more than just a forest. It's like a piece of tree in a forest. But then afterwards, like you said, when I broke everything down, and even when I go back today, I kind of look in the area and I'm like, yep, that's where somewhere else, kind of right in there, and they just kind of like blend back into the forest. The rocks and everything, they just return to their natural state. But while you're there, you kind of notice them more, and that's a rock with the moss on all sides.
Right.
It
was kind of fun because it's just me out there. I don't have any music playing or anything, and that was another like beautiful part of that first morning was it was just quiet, so quiet. You could hear like the water going over the rocks.
Yeah.
It was just still. Everything was still. Nothing was waking up yet. It was still super cool, like really nice. Like I was almost getting chilly in the morning in the hammock, because I didn't sleep with any blanket or anything.
Yeah.
It's plenty warm at night, but by the time morning rolls around, especially in a hammock, I've slept in a hammock a number of times, and if it's at all cool, you have to put something underneath.
Right.
Because you're breathing. So your body, the hammock is breathing.
Right.
You're basically levitating, or, like you're laying in air. And
that's why they say that bridges freeze first.
Right.
It's because you have air moving underneath and on top.
Right.
So it's like.
So it's great for summertime.
Yeah.
Whenever you're trying to keep cool, and it's like your back can breathe.
Yes.
Whenever you're in a tent or something, your back's against that solid, mat or air mattress or whatever you have when you're camping. And in a hammock, if like a wind picked up, I got it on my my chest, my top side, my head, and my back, because it's going underneath the hammock and taking that heat. And so it was nice. It was really nice and cool, and everything's quiet, and we're just getting started and everything. And I feel like I was going somewhere with all that.
Day 2. It was a nice morning.
Yeah, day 2.
Quiet.
I was excited to get started. I was confident, but again, it was mostly hope and prayer that this kayak would hold up.
So you're thinking maybe one more day?
Oh, no. I'm thinking I'm making it.
Oh, wow.
I'm making it.
Wow.
I'm making it to Oxford, which was a long ways away.
Really?
Long ways away. From Derby to Oxford was the longest stretch
of river
without town. Like it was just, I think I went under probably 2 or 3 bridges, and there was more bridges ahead or whatever, but like the town was far away. And I figured once I got there, I would dock the kayak, probably take my bag into town, just keep it with me,
right?
But go kind of resupply,
right?
And if there was a Walmart, get a life straw, because that's what I needed. I needed a life straw.
I told you.
I know.
That was one of my text messages.
I know. I thought I'll be fine.
Because I had one, and I would have given it to you.
Oh, thanks for telling me that much.
Well, you didn't say anything. You acted like you had one.
No.
And Mom bought us. Actually, it's Mom.
She bought us like a Sawyer filtration system.
That's what I mean.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't find it. Because I moved, so a lot of my stuff is in just totes, just kind of waiting for my next move.
Right.
So I'm sure it's somewhere in there.
It has to be.
But it's like I wasn't about to unpack everything I have, or I don't know.
That would have been your float trip, right?
Hindsight, I should have. I don't know. But
I think a life straw at an academy or something is $20.
It's like 17 or 18 at Walmart.
Yeah. And part of that goes to wells in Africa.
Well, just smart decision. Should have done it. Didn't do it. Wouldn't have mattered. It would have made this next part coming up a little less stressful.
But isn't that the whole point of the trip like this? Like this, well, not the whole point, but isn't that like an insanely beneficial part of a trip like this? Is the experience. This trip did not go your way at all. But look at the massive amount of experience that you got. It's just even starting with the research as far as what rivers flow north and south, and what rivers flow east to west, like what river is flowing what way. Like even that experience has already added to, so that come next year you go, well, I'm going to go in March, I'm gonna do this.
I think a spring float would definitely be the way to go.
But isn't that cool? Because now you know.
Right.
If some kid were to come to you and go like, "Hey, I want to go float," and you go, "Get yourself a life straw."
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
the first thing is get a life straw, because you have so. It's one of those ironic situations where it's like dude. There was a point where I was almost ready to risk it. Like I'll just
drink the river water.
I'll just dump my head in the water and just like not inhale water, but just like just drink it because I was so thirsty.
Oh god.
Well, anyway, that's coming up. So I'm like rationing my water, which I swear, if the water was up and I could have gone at a kayak pace, I would have been okay. I would have made it to Oxford and been able to resupply and refill my waters. Cause I
probably got more Gorilla Glue. I mean, I don't know if that helped.
Okay. If I would not have been dragging and the water would have been up, the Gorilla Glue would have been fine.
Yeah.
It would have made it.
I think so.
It would have been just fine because I would have been moving fine. Nothing's dragging on it.
Right. Very low friction.
Very low friction. Maybe even the second night I could have reapplied a second layer or something.
Right. At least made your trip full. Oh shit.
Sure. I think. So that's why it's like I wish I had a life straw, but again, it doesn't really matter because you wouldn't have made it. The water was just too low. That's like the number one thing that did me in. Water was just too low.
Right.
Couldn't do it.
Number 2, hole in my kayak.
Number 2, hole in my kayak didn't help. But it was like I was dragging so much that, I mean, without the hole in my kayak, I still would have been dragging.
Yeah.
I still would have been whatever. So the second day I'm going pretty good. I'd say it's a little better. I drag less. I'm pulling it. I'm getting out and pulling it less, but still, it's a lot of pulling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes it was like 10 yards, get out, pull for 8. 10 yards, pull for 9.
Oh,
like
geez.
In and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. A lot of it. And then, so I started. What I say around 6 something, a little after 6:30. Started a little bit then, and it was getting around like 10 or 11, and I was thinking if I can make it. It's like 10:30 or so. I was like, all right, anytime after 11, anywhere from like 11 to 12, I'll try to find a shady spot, kind of take a little break. I was tired enough that it's hot and I'm sweaty and everything. I could have easily pulled my hat down, taken a little nap.
Right.
Like I was tired, like ready to keep going. Could have used a little nap, a little food.
Yeah.
Would have been great.
Right.
Would have been ready to go again. And so I do that and I actually filmed that. I think that's on my phone. And in fact, I know that's on my phone.
Are you going to post these videos? Like, put them on Premiere, chop them up a little bit, add some music?
I have to do it with your computer.
I think you should.
I don't know. It's not 4K. I filmed it in 1080. So maybe.
Maybe your computer can handle it.
Mine might be able to run it. Maybe.
Dude, with those, people watch the whole damn thing.
I could make it into like a 3 or 4 minute video, just a real quick.
I'd put it up raw. Put each one in raw,
no.
And then maybe add like.
You don't know what's even said in some of these. Some of these I'm just like. Just nonsense.
That's what I think. That's what's so good about it, though.
No.
And then put little text in between. Just little black. I was
gonna do like
text.
a narration,
or even narration.
I was gonna do like a narration, and then just kind of like the highlights of it.
Right.
Just a couple minutes, no big deal. Like here's my failed trip on the Arkansas River. But so I'm going for a while. I take a break around to like 11 or so. Do a little filming. Kind of just. Still bitching like, oh, I'm so sick of dragging this kayak, And by the way, basically the theme of the trip was the Almost Heroes theme.
Anytime you needed your spirits picked up, you just would hum that.
I was just thinking like, they boat on the river, they boat on the Mississippi or whatever. And it's like I had that song and then quotes, just like. We could go down the Missouri instead. Ooh. Just quote. It was like an Almost Heroes trip. That's the only thing. Because there's no music or anything.
Right.
Luckily, we had just watched that. So that's what was going through my head. If you haven't seen Almost Heroes, God, what are you doing?
Oh, I know.
What are you doing?
You're not a Chris Farley fan.
You cannot say you're a Chris Farley fan if you have not seen Almost Heroes.
And, we watched it the other night for movie night.
Oh,
and
my God.
It was just as funny as when I first saw it as a kid. Which Dad showed us the squirrel scene. Or he showed me the squirrel scene.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
He just had, come watch this. It's funny. And I thought it was fucking hysterical.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And then when we watched the whole thing as kids, Chris was just so good.
Dude, he was amazing.
But this time, not to interrupt your story too much.
No, go.
But this time when we watched it, being older, I appreciated the other characters a lot more. Like I really appreciated Pratt.
And Bidwell.
Bidwell. I liked Bidwell as a kid, but Pratt this time, I kind of wrote him off as just like, what in the hell? But this time,
he's like a Creed off The Office.
Yes,
like he's that character.
He absolutely is. Yeah, that's almost a perfect analogy. God, Creed. Oh my God.
Speaking of The Office, I just finished it.
I saw that
yesterday.
Yeah. You have I don't understand your problem with Jim and Pam's relationship.
I hate it.
I
don't like Jim.
And then Colby nailed it on the head. It's because you are Jim.
I don't see it. I mean, that's honest. I don't see it.
Really?
Jim?
Sort of. If any
smart
of
ass punk. I don't think that's me. I'm the one who's like reserved. I stay back.
Maybe
I wouldn't even make it in The Office. I would be like, I would say Creed, but like I'd be one of the sub characters that just has a one-liner here and there.
I always thought that Daryl was
Jim's like,
Dylan.
I'm too smart. I'm playing the prank on everybody. I can get away with anything. I did not like Jim.
That's crazy because everyone loves all the characters. There wasn't, Andy was the only one that kind of like got on my nerves.
Really?
But
I can see that.
Until they got him like the Nard Dog tattoo, they kind of remember that.
You remember what season?
Oh God, he was manager, so it'd be like probably the bad one. 8
then.
It just kind of and this was funny because every time there was a new manager, they would make him Steve Carell. They'd make him Michael. It'd just be kind of some little version of Michael.
Right.
And it's just like, well, you're not as good as Michael.
No.
And then, spoiler alert, I hope you've seen it. When Michael comes back, what a disappointment.
Dude, he had one line.
One line.
No,
and
not even one line.
They grade his hair
3
up.
words.
I know. It was so like
3 words.
It's like, Michael, there you are. And he just kind of.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like, Michael, you came.
I know.
That's what she said.
That's it. He wasn't Michael at all. But
I thought he'd have a speech.
Oh
or
my
just,
God.
How have you guys been?
Yeah.
Or something.
Anything. Just nothing. He was not Michael at all.
Michael
and
has
I don't know
2 phones, and he pays 2 phone bills because of all his kids. It's like a little stupid Michael joke.
Yeah.
That wasn't even him.
No. I was so disappointed.
I was too.
Because I knew he was going to come back. I just kind of felt it. Like, of course, he has to at least make an appearance. But I didn't think he would just make a fucking appearance. I thought he would do something Michael-ish.
I mean, even talk.
Yeah.
Even just talk.
There's just so many things he could have done that were Michael-ish that would have been like, oh, it's good to see you. Like, I know this is the last episode.
Right.
I know I'm not going to see anymore, but at least that kind of quenched my thirst for Michael.
I almost thought it seemed so quick because, like, you know, I don't know, 3 or 4 episodes back from the finale, it's like just a normal Office episode.
Yeah.
Like,
yes, it did. It ended quick because I think it was like the penultimate. The episode before the very last episode was, like you said, like kind of like a normal thing, and then the next one was 5 years have passed, 2 years have passed.
Yeah,
like, whoa.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, like a year passed or something.
Yeah. They fired Kevin, like just things like that. Was just like, okay, I don't really.
That was weird. Like you fired Kevin.
There was some weird stuff towards the end. Season 8 was a biggest pile of dog shit of any season ever.
No, season 8. That's what you saw in the group chat. Is like that's where I stopped because this is terrible. Without Michael, it's terrible,
dude. It was.
And then when I talked to basically all my buds are Team Office, which is I love The Office. It's great, but they were also like, it's worth it. You need to finish it. It's worth it. Get back on it. It's like, all right, I've seen Parks and Rec twice. Like I can finish The Office. I don't. And so I started back at season 8, and I was just like, "What are you guys putting me through? This is horrible.
No, it was bad.
This is not funny. I don't like any of these characters."
Yeah. Some of the stories started getting so outlandish.
That's where like
twisted.
my disgust with Jim came from. Like, I'm so sick of this character. He's not funny.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a good show. But then I got to season 9, and it was like redemption.
Yeah.
Season 9's great.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Yeah. No, season 8. When we hit season 8, it was we've come this far. When I say we, Kelsey and I watched it, it's like we've come this far. We're gonna finish this. But there were nights where we'd lay in bed. And I just like turn over and start talking to her, and then kind of tune back in, and be like, okay, well, whatever.
Dude, like there's episodes where it's like I'm watching it like just a show, like a non-comic show, where it's just like, oh, next episode.
Yeah, tons of
not even a chuckle.
Like,
I don't know. 9 was great. 1 through 7 was great. Michael made the show.
Yeah.
You know, it was awesome. And I ran out of fuel at 8.
No, I totally understand.
But
Similar to my Game of Thrones experience.
Well, I thought like I read some of the stuff on like why Steve Carell left and everything, and I guess the producers were basically like, we have such a great cast that we can still work a show around these good characters or whatever. It's like they tried. I think they tried to like, you know, they put Andy in the manager spot, but Jim kind of became the main, the lead character.
Right.
Maybe him and Andy in a way, but like there's a lot of Jim in there, and I just didn't make.
Well, they got rid of Dwight way too fast. Like he shot the gun, and he got fired as manager.
Yeah,
and I was like, well, that's the end of Dwight's kind of reign. Like he was just a little bit too crazy.
What, interim manager or something.
Yeah. But that actually worked out to the writers' success, or to the writers. What do you call that? To their credit. To the writers' credit, that made the ending of Dwight's story that much better.
Right.
It's like he had it, he lost it, and then he got it again.
And he didn't even expect it, you know.
Didn't
like,
even expect
I'm not getting it. Yeah, that's a time passed or
right,
whatever.
Exactly. But then he gets it, and he's just that much better for it. He's
like, I am ready for it now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was nice. Anyway,
I will say I'm glad I finished it.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I think it'd be. There is an aspect of like you want to rewatch it because you know what happens to everybody, so you want to like review,
pick up on stuff.
Well, I can use Parks and Rec because I've seen it a couple times or whatever, but you get to like see, oh, that's where this character gets introduced, and oh, that they didn't even come in until season 3.
Yeah, you forget about that.
You think that they're in the whole thing or whatever, like. So I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. We got this character just got introduced or whatever.
Right.
That's always fun.
That's kind of similar to the end of The Office when it becomes more of like, oh, it's being released. Remember that?
Yeah.
And finally, we're kind of looking back on this was actually a documentary over this office that is being released to the public. Right. And then they all figure out that all their secrets are.
They like turn off all their mics, and then the other guy's like, "No, we can get you from like 100 yards away or something."
Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, it was good. Anyway, back to the river.
Okay, back to
day
the river.
2.
Day 2. I'm in it like 6 hours. Okay, now I'm getting low on water, and I have a long ways to go, and I'm thinking I'm just gonna keep going until I can't go. I don't know. I'm just gonna keep going. And so I don't know. I go maybe like another hour. And at this point, like, I have to get my emotions under control because I'm getting pissed at this fucking river. I'm getting mad because, like, sometimes you're going and you start scraping bad enough. And I guess day 2, rule number 1 was not even a little scraping. A little scraping, get out and drag.
Because of the hole.
Yeah. You don't mess with this hole. If there's any friction, get out, drag it. Well, sometimes it's like you'd be going, start dragging a little. All right, get out, and then you look over, and like 3 feet over is good water. Yeah. It's like drag it over here, get right back in. Right back where you were. Go. Sometimes 10, 20 yards, and you're right back dragging again. You got to stand up and look around, and you kind of tell. Like the more like micro ripples there were, you knew that those were closer. You knew that the water was closer to the rocks because you could see the individual rocks. So it's like, that's off limits.
Right.
This over here is more calm, less current. It's like, that must be deeper.
Right.
So you try to kind of follow the path of the deeper parts of the river. And sometimes it would work. Sometimes you'd like, almost like thread the needle and go in between like high spots and then get back into a nice good groove or whatever. But no, so eventually I'm down to my last 2-3 gulps of water, and I have miles to go before Oxford. And so I think I don't know, I can't really remember. I know I basically just had to pull over. Oh, I know what happened. When I started, I guess it was after that break, after like the noon break or whatever, I kept going a little ways farther. And then it was like every time that I got out to drag, it seemed like it was getting heavier. And eventually there was a time where it was like I am pulling this thing and it is heavy and something's going on. And so on each end of the kayak, there's these little like plugs that you can undo. So I went ahead and did it. And then it was like, you know, it was like a faucet of water, like pressure. There was so much water trying to get out all at once. It was like pressurized spraying water out of my kayak. So I was like, all right, well, it's full now. So if I do keep going, this will have to be like every hour. I'm going to have to stop. I'm going to take this off, lift up the front end, let it drain down and out. And I'm out of water. You know, like I'm dangerously out of water. And thank goodness again for technology. So I pull over and I'm thinking like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like the kayak's getting super heavy.
Right.
So even when I pull, it's like using more energy that I'm trying to conserve for this trip. You know, I have a limited amount of food and stuff. And once I can get to cities, it's not too bad. You know, I can at least restock with everything I need. But until I'm at a city, which I had plenty of food. Food was not the issue. It was definitely water. I had plenty of food, and you know, sometimes you don't even get that hungry out there. You're just burning off what you have or something. You know, I don't know. And
need to do like a jerky, like dried foods or something. You know?
I had a bag of jerky. Yeah, like I said, a lot of peanut butter.
Yeah,
so it was like that's gonna keep me alive. You know, at minimum, it's gonna keep me alive.
Scoop a day.
Yeah. So I mean, I knew I wasn't gonna starve, but that's where all morning I could have been just soaking up the life water straw. You know, cold water. Could have been chugging it. You know, no problem. But instead, I'm rationing, and so finally, I pull the boat up on a little beach or whatever. I'm just thinking like, I gotta make a decision here. So I get on my phone. I'm like, where is the nearest something? And I can't hear any noise around me. Like there's no cars. There's no city. And which that first night was kind of cool because Derby was close enough that the city lights were bright enough that it wasn't pitch black. Like Elk City, it'll go pitch black.
Yeah,
you cannot see your hand in front of your face.
Right.
This was like you could see the glimmering of the water, and like you could see the tree line on the other side. So it was like kind of cool, but I couldn't. You know, it was daytime or whatever, but I couldn't hear anything. There's no people on the road. There's no houses on either side. I'm out of water, and I'm thirsty. Like I need a drink, and I have nothing. And that's where the point where I was like, I might just stick my head in this water. And I used to get random thoughts out there. It's like, what if I just like got hit with an arrow? Like, like I thought if that happened and I were to die, I would go head first into the water and just start drinking all the water to like get that would be like my last wish, you know. It was like, just give me a drink. Give me a drink of water. No. So, dude, my kayak's super heavy at this point, and it's like filling up, and the glue. I mean, besides yelling for help or like, I mean, I wasn't, I don't know. I wasn't going to refuse calling for emergency services, but that was like, if I was like dragging myself. Yeah, it's going to be an emergency before I hit them up.
That's how Josh
I'm not going to be like, hey guys, sorry. Yeah, I'm just going to climb on. You know, it's like they're going to have to resuscitate me or something.
That's what Josh and I used to do when we were in the ocean. Like, I better be so far out. I better be like panicking. Yeah. Because there was one time.
Before I yell help or something?
There was one time we were out there. We were getting pulled pretty far by this tide. This like, I think it was like a storm that was coming in, and it was pulling us out there. And I saw the lifeguard stand up, and I
think I was there.
You might have been. Where I looked at you or I looked at Josh, and I go, that motherfucker comes out here. No, I will be so furious.
There was a time when we got back, and I think you told me or something. It was like, I guess they almost came out there for us. Like, were we that far out there? Like, I guess we were.
That might have been
the time. Concerned
because I saw them stand up, and that's like step one. They stand up and they're like on alert. You know, they're watching something.
I didn't feel like we were that far out there, but then like trying to get back, that was effort.
The riptide was crazy.
That was effort. Like you had to keep hammering. Well, you could back to the shore.
Yeah, and you could see that if you weren't, you know, a big strapping young lad, where you know if it's a older person or a kid or something like that, could be it. That could be the.
Dude, it's like you had to be a motorboat. Like you had to keep going. You couldn't like
if you stopped at all,
kind of wait or stop. Like you had to continue moving this way, like continue using effort to get that way. And then, by the time you get there, you're exhausted. But yeah.
So similar thought to where emergency service ain't
similar
coming
thought to where I am not recruited or like having a helicopter fly in or So I go to my Google Maps.
Make the Derby news.
Oh my God. It's like I'd rather make the Derby news as a dead guy on the river before dumb fat kid gets rescued by helicopter.
Well, I had plenty of food. It was just the water I needed.
You're in a river, dummy. No. So, dude, it was a matter of like not dehydration, but so thirsty that I've had my time with this kayak. It's done me well. I'm saying goodbye. Oh. I'm leaving it.
Oh shit.
I was so tired. Or not tired. I was so thirsty and just like I can't. It was just weighing my options, I guess. I get on my phone. It's like, all right, there's a bridge coming up, and I thought it was pretty close. It was not very close. Oh. It was like probably a 30-minute walk with a bag over my, all my stuff. I left my kayak. I left a shirt. I left a pair of underwear, maybe a pair of socks. That's it. That's all I left. So I had my paddles with me and all my gear, empty water bottles. I'm thirsty. So I start this walk, and it's like half in the water, half on sand beaches, sand dune things. And then every once in a while I got to stop, and I'll sit in the water, and I'll take my shoe off, and it's like full of sand. Oh, jeez. Like those foot things, those foot eggs or petty eggs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's like a cheese grater for your foot. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was thinking my feet have to be so smooth after this because I'm like walking on every step. They're just rubbing against sand. And so I really haven't taken too much time to feel my feet, but I was thinking they must just be like getting rubbed, all those hard calluses getting rubbed off and everything.
Tiny little sand particles.
Just
every direction.
Yeah, just breaking parts off of skin cells or whatever. But it was uncomfortable enough where I'd have to stop, sit down on the water, take off my sock and shoe, and then try putting on a wet sock. It sucks. It's hard, But then I'd start walking again. It'd be nice and whatever. So I'm walking, and it's like some bends of the river was like a bend. Like you're going almost 180, and then you might go 180 back in the other direction, like a bend in the river. Right. Some was like just a slight curvature, but if you go past the curvature, every time I did one of those, every time I was walking and kind of like rounded a corner, I was thinking, here's going to be the bridge. Here's going to be the bridge coming up. No. It took forever. And by the way, when I was kayaking and you're like kind of bored or whatever, you'd pass some stuff, and it's like I'd start naming things like Pittsburgh Nelly. Not like that, but there was like I named one spot Dead Man's Gulch.
Yeah,
because it was like all these dead, like weird, like somebody put them there almost.
Right.
These dead trees coming up out of the water, and you like had to kayak past them, like close enough to where I could like use them to push myself past, like all these dead.
Just waiting for like dead hands to come out.
Yeah,
of the water.
Right. So I was like, this is Dead Man's Gulch, and there was other shit there that I was naming that was kind of fun, just stupid names.
It just kind of like probably speaks to our ancestors, just naming things like explorers for one, but then it makes me think of the Genesis story. It's like what man named everything.
Yeah.
Not God.
Right.
He just like put man. He's like, what are you gonna call that?
There's a
bird.
Right.
Dog.
Right.
Yeah. And so.
Yeah. So I'm walking, looking for this bridge. I'm actively sweating, so there I'm losing water, and I like. From the time I started walking and was flipping off my kayak and cussing it out as I'm leaving it, like, this is your fault. It wasn't, but as I'm leaving, it's like,
don't leave me.
My concern level was somewhat high. Literally, like every step, it was just slowly, like you're out of water and you're thirsty. Right. You're out of water and you're thirsty. Just kept rising. Like, okay, I'm starting to get a little worried now. Like, not emergency services worried, but like, you are thirsty,
Yeah.
and you have no water on you,
Right.
and it is hot as hell. And at that point, I took a white shirt and dumped it in the river, and put it over my head, and then put my sun hat over that, and that was really nice. That helped keep me cool. Obviously, didn't quench my thirst. So I'm walking. Finally, there's the bridge. And you saw the video of me seeing the river where I'm like, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
This is why I'm here.
Right.
I was so happy to finally see the river. It was like double, triple that seeing this bridge. Like, thank God for this bridge. Thank you, bridge. Because bridge means people, and people means water, you know?
Right.
And so I'm walking to it, and it's like one of those where you see it in the distance. So it's like, there's the bridge. Now I got to get to it.
Right.
So I got to keep walking. And, there's big, tall grass, like up to my chin, like tall grass that you got to like get through. And I'm thinking this is snake territory. There's just little puddles of water everywhere. It's like, please, I'm wearing shorts, don't step on a water moccasin or something.
Get tapped.
Please. And,
that would suck.
but it's to the point of like, I don't care. I will walk through this because I am so thirsty.
Yeah,
like,
it's scary.
There's not a thought. Yeah, it's like irrational thinking.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's how people die when they get seasick.
I know. Yeah, it's you're not thinking straight,
Mm-mm.
and it's like snakes are. I would rather have water. I'd rather like risk this snake territory for water because that's how thirsty I am. I just want to get there. So I get there. To make matters worse, it's like there's not a clear way up the bridge to the to the road. So I gotta like fight my way up through a bunch of crap. I go through Cockabur City.
Ugh.
So my socks, which I'm wearing like the
Cockabur City.
the high,
That's what I named it, Cockabur City.
the calf socks or whatever. My shoelaces are like stuck together with cockaburs.
Shit.
Just in my leg hair and my knees. They're on the inside of my shorts. So every time I walk, they're like rubbing against my leg.
Oh.
So I'm like picking all these out. Like nobody's gonna want to pick me up, and I get cockaburs all in their car and everything. I don't know. They were like the little ones. I don't know if those are.
I don't know.
I mean, that's what we've always called them.
Yeah.
They were like the really small ones.
Way worse than the big ones.
I'd say so. Big ones are
In a way of getting them off. The big ones are sharper.
They're a little painful. The big ones are a little more painful, but the smaller ones are just hundreds of them, And so I get to the road and it's like, well, I've kind of always wanted to hitchhike, so here's my chance. And I'm so thirsty that it doesn't matter. So I like stick my thumb out and start walking. And I kind of look at my phone trying to find like it sucked because I could go one way and it goes down to Oxford, and I go the other way and it goes down to Oxford. But it's not like you can just go down to Oxford.
Right.
So I was like, well, I'm just going to go one way, So I start walking, have my thumb out, a lot of people passing or whatever. And I even did like guilt trips where if they were coming toward me, I'd be like looking right at them. When they didn't slow down, like when I saw that they didn't slow down, like drop my head, drop my thumb. So when they drove by, they like, oh, he saw that I wasn't stopping, and like not like, oh no, and then they're gone. It was like a hopeful,
right?
And then when they're close enough to like see me and they weren't stopping, just like, oh no, what am I gonna do?
You would have ripped my heart apart.
Yeah. Well, so I keep walking, and then I see this like, I didn't walk too far, quarter mile, maybe to a half mile somewhere.
Was the road decently busy?
No.
Oh.
It was like a barren highway.
Oh, great.
No shoulder. So every time somebody drove by, I had to like get in the grass and then throw up. Well, I kind of kept my thumb up or whatever, but
right.
I had to like get in the grass and no shoulder. And I'm trying to think. It's like those Hutchinson grandpa highways where it's like just a stretch of road that's 65, 70 miles an hour, but who's on it? It's like a Kansas road,
right,
Kansas highway,
right.
not a freeway or anything. It's like a random Kansas highway. And if you see it on the map, on like a Kansas map, it's like it's connecting two other
bigger
highways. Yeah,
right.
And so I'm walking on that, and I walk, whatever, quarter mile, half mile, something like that. And I see this house, and it's like it's a really big house, and it's got big so-and-so landscaping and like they dig out ponds and stuff. If you want a pond or whatever, they'll dig you out a pond and everything. Successful looking house business, all big property and everything. Like those big farms that we've seen.
Right.
And So I'm like, I have to go ask them for water. Like I have to go ask if I can use a hydrant. I don't need to go inside or anything.
Right.
You know, I just want to use their hydrant and refill on some water, you know. So I walk over, and you had to like take a left on a little dirt road and kind of walk up that a little ways. And I'm getting there, beware of dog sign. Like, oh, come on, you know. So I walk up, two big old, I don't know what they were, big white fluffy dogs. And yeah, they were like barking deep. They weren't coming at me. They were like kind of like, you know, circling or whatever. Not circling, but kind of keeping their distance and barking. I don't know. It was like, I kind of had my hands up. I think I had my paddles in one hand, and I had a water bottle in another hand. Just kind of like, I had nothing in my hands, nothing, no knives or guns or whatever. And I have this big camping backpack on, so it's like, yeah, I guess a normal person would be like, what's in the bag? Like, clothes, man,
Right.
clothes and a tent or in a hammock. Some
Right.
food, you know. I'm not carrying around guns
Right.
and something
There's not a
crazy,
bomb in here.
machete or something crazy, you know, nothing like that. I had a pocket knife on me. No, so those dogs like kind of start freaking me out. I was like, oh man! So I turn around, say never mind, you know, like I'm gonna keep walking. I don't want to be that. At that point, I was like, I don't want to be eaten by dogs. I can't fight these dogs off. I'm too tired. They're big. I don't want to be eaten by dogs. I don't know how aggressive these dogs are.
In Derby news.
They seemed like guard dogs, not attack dogs. Just
Right.
like they'll
Alerting
warn the owners that somebody's here or whatever. And I saw 2 hydrants. They had 2 hydrants. That I was just like,
Please.
and so no, I kept walking. I went back to the highway. And I was like, all right, there's another house a little ways down. You know, a distant neighbor or whatever. I'm gonna go. Stick my thumb out, nothing. Go to this next place. Signs out front says, you know, private property, no trespassing. Great, that's what I like to see. Other sign, something like, if you step onto this premises, you agree to have audio and visual recording anywhere on this property.
Wow.
So it's like, I don't know where the microphones are at. I don't know where the cameras are at. So as I'm coming in, same thing. I have my kayak or my paddles in one hand, water ball in another. I'm just like, hey, hello, excuse me, like coming, like announcing my presence here, so I'm not sneaking up on anybody.
Right.
Hey, excuse me, hello. And it's like a kind of a long driveway, and I get to the house, like, hey, excuse me, you know, still nobody. And I'm just like, I'm at the point of like begging for water, like,
Oh my
please,
God.
please give me water, somebody. And it's like, hey, you know, holding up my bottle, like, I just need some water. Hey, excuse me, nothing. I go up to the door. I ring the doorbell. I'm kind of like, hands still up. You know, I don't want my hands in my pockets or anything. It's like, kind of waiting. Just nothing. Like, all right, I'm going for it. They had a hydrant out front. So I undo the hose.
Oh.
And I was kind of like talking my way. Like, if they're audio recording everything, then
Right.
they will know why their hose is disconnected. Because I wanted to get out of there as fast as I could, too. I don't want somebody pulling in. It's like they
Right.
got this random guy over by their garden stealing water or whatever. But so I go over there, I undo the hose, like I just need to fill this water bottle, and like originally I was gonna fill them all, just get them all filled up, but I was trying to get out of there, and so I filled one up, slammed it, you know, just the big gulps, like belly ache gulps, like too big of gulps, you know, filled it up again, slammed that one, and then filled it up again, you know, put the lid on. I didn't worry about the hose, and I just like kind of got out of there. I was like, all right, thank you, you know, just went on. Dude, at this point, I've been walking for a while. I've been paddling for 5-6 hours already. I'm tired. And so I go out, and I have footage. I think this must be on my phone too. But I have, in fact, I know it is. I'm kind of just right outside their gate on the other side of the road. And I walk 20 yards maybe, like up the road. And there's some shade. So I'm like, I'm just gonna set up here, man. I don't want to move. I gotta sit. I could sleep. I'm tired. I'm like, I'm not as thirsty, but now I'm back to rationing my one water bottle. I don't want to go back to their property and whatever. Nobody was home, I guess, or sleeping or whatever, you know. It's like, so now I'm back to rationing. So now I'm sitting on the road, and people are driving by, and I was like, throw up a thumb. Nothing, but I'm still doing the guilt trip. Like, if they get close enough and they aren't stopping, I'll look down in despair. Like, what am I gonna do?
Right.
And
Surprised no one just stopped. Like, I was gonna stop the whole time.
No, there was none of that. But you know, all of a sudden this kind of older truck goes by, and you know, I kept driving. I got my phone on me, and you know, it's like 40% or something. I've been good with the battery. I keep it off, and I'll just check it every now and again. I'll keep the data off and everything. You know, save as much battery as I can. And then kind of look back the other way a couple minutes later, and it's that same truck. I'm thinking, all right, we got something here, you know. And I get up, look as big and burly as you can, you know. You like, it's a weird game, you know. It's that you don't want to be, and that's what I was telling this guy. You don't want to be too, like, I know I'm big and I got a beard and stuff and a big bag, and people are freaking out about that. But then again, you don't want to be a victim of something, so you don't want to be like petite and submissive or whatever, but you don't want to be like too dominant to where it's like, I'm stealing your fucking car, man, you know, nothing like that. But he kind of pulls up, and so he pulls up going to where his passenger side is toward me. Yeah. So I kind of like go to the window, and he like leans over, and like I said, older truck, so it's like crank windows or whatever, and he rolls it down, and he's like, "Hey, what's up, man? Hey, how's it going? Where are you heading?" He's like, I can't remember where, not Belle Plaine, Udall, or I don't know, something like that, some Kansas thing. And I was like, "Oh, it's not anywhere close to Oxford, is it?" He's like, "Oh, Oxford's in the other direction, you know, this way." I was like, "Oh man!" So I wasn't even walking in the right direction.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so I was walking in the wrong direction to start with, and I was like, "Oh man!" And again, just not trying to be a burden on anybody's day, you know. It's like, if you're going that direction, I would love a ride. If you're not going that direction, I'll still hang out here and wait for somebody who is, and at least I know to go this direction now. Right. And he's like, "Man, get in. It's hot out here. I'll just take you to Oxford. It's not too far." I was like, "No, dude, no. It's fine." He's like, "Oh, come on, you know, get in." I was like, "All right, well, I'll just jump in the back then." You know, he's like in this little truck. He's like, I'll just jump in the back. He's like, "Man, it's hot. Get in my truck, you know, whatever. I'll make some room for you." So he gets out.
It's like an older gentleman?
I'll get there. And so he gets out, and, well, I guess he's younger. He was like 28, 29. And so he gets out and kind of makes his passenger seat was kind of junky or whatever, and he had some like HVAC units in the back, so his trunk or his truck bed was pretty full. Yeah. I threw my bag back there, threw my paddles back there. He's like, "Hey, you got paddles?" You know, he didn't see a boat. I was like, "Man, I got a story to tell you." You know, he's like, "All right, well, get in, let's go." So I get in, like, "Hey, I'm Casey, man." He's like, "All right, I'm Andrew." And just telling him like how much I appreciated it, and man, I've been out there for a while, and it's hot, and kind of go through my whole story, whole spiel of what happened and everything. And he kind of cracking up, you know, laughing at it. "What are you doing? You're way too big to be in a kayak. Of course you're dragging," and stuff. You know, just giving me shit. And super cool guy, Andrew, man, saved me. And so I tell him like, you know, I'm going to Oxford right now, but really I need to get back to Ponca City. That's where my truck is. And I was like, "What are you out doing? You know, like, you driving on this highway? What are you out doing?" He's like, "Well, I'm actually kind of working right now. I'm taking these HVAC units to my boss's place or whatever, and then I got to go to school." He's going to like HVAC school or something, which I talked to him. We stayed in touch or whatever. I talked to him like, "Hey, I might have a job for you when you graduate over at 1020. Yeah. And he said he graduates in like April or something, so it's a while. But I was just like, "Oh man, maybe we have a HVAC guy that can do it for us." I don't know.
Hopefully we'll have HVAC before then.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, but I was just like, "Ooh, we might need you." But he's like, "All right, I'll get you to Oxford, and then if you can't find a ride from Oxford by the time I'm done with class, then I'll just take you the whole way," which is like an hour from Oxford or something.
Oh, not terrible.
So he gave me like maybe a 20, 25 minute ride to Oxford, and he turned around and did his thing. But yeah, from Oxford to where I just said, Ponca City, about an hour. So it's like not terrible, definitely out of your way. Like you wouldn't want to just voluntarily do it.
An hour drive. How long to float? 2 days?
An hour drive.
Right. Is that what you said?
Well, I mean,
from Oxford to Ponca City would be an hour.
Think about this. From Ponca City to Derby was about 70 miles.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going 70 the entire way,
okay,
about an hour.
Right.
So that's why I said, and you can trace stuff on Google Maps
mm-hmm.
to see the distance.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what I did was just trace the river, and it was like 101 miles from Derby to Ponca City. So again, back to the equation, if you're going 3 miles an hour for 8 hours a day, whatever. So what did you say, from Oxford to Ponca?
Yeah.
You know, what was that? Say maybe a quarter of the way. So it would have been like a day or two
float.
Should have been like I said, if the river would have been up, I could have got there by day 2. So there I'm maybe a third. We'll say a third of the way.
Okay.
So day 2, if I would have got there, you know, the river would have been up and everything, I would have been a third of the way, been able to restock and everything, no big deal.
Right.
And then after that, Arkansas City is closer than Derby is to Oxford.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a shorter trip, and then Arkansas City to Ponca City is about the same as Oxford to Arkansas. So Derby to Oxford is the longest stretch. That was like the longest stretch with no backup or whatever.
Right.
And so we get there, and Oxford's pretty small, no Walmart or anything. There's a Casey's gas station.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you know, that's fine. We can stop here, whatever. And I offered. I was like, man, can I get you like some food or something?
Yeah.
You know? No, I'm not. You know, I don't really eat all that much. Skinny kid. You know, almost like a Hunter Randall or something.
Oh,
right. It's kind of Hunter at least has like a frame to him. This kid was pretty thin. You know,
yeah.
Pretty thin kid. He's like, oh, I don't really eat all that much or whatever. And he's like, you smoke? And he had some cigarettes. I was like, fuck it, man, I'll take one. You know, like, I've had a hell of a day, man. I don't care. So I did that, and then I got a picture with him, actually. I can show you a picture of him. I wish we could throw it up on the screen. I was like, hey, I'm filming all this, and I got to give you credit on this one for saving me. And he kind of laughed or whatever. And
you'll have to you'll have to send in the link to the podcast.
Yeah, maybe. And you saw the second guy, but so we get there, and he goes into the, you know, whatever store, Casey's store, and he's like, I'm gonna grab a drink. And I kind of follow him in there, and he's in line. He has like some food, whatever, Casey's fried, whatever they had, chicken or something, and a Gatorade.
Some good shit.
I was like, you are not paying for that.
Yeah.
He's like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, I'm sure. You just picked me off on the side of a hot ass highway when I had no water, no transportation. I think I can get that. But I think that's like the least I could do is pay for that, you know? So I go get myself a Gatorade. And
how refreshing was that?
Oh, dude, it was a white, like Arctic Frost or whatever.
All those electrolytes.
Man, it said thirst quencher on it and everything. It was so good. I did that. I got that and a gallon. That was like $1.50, you know, a gallon of water.
Right.
So I got to refill all my bottles and everything, and then got to just chug the last of the gallon of water, and that Gatorade and stuff, you know. I hadn't pissed since morning. You know, it's just like there's nothing in me.
Right.
And so, you know, I was like, all right, you know, I appreciate it, man. He had to go do his thing, and he's like, all right, well, let me know. And I, like, as we were driving, he said something about staying in touch, and, you know, I brought up Facebook. He's like, yeah, you know, go ahead and add me or whatever. So I added him, and that's kind of where we've been chatting.
Cool.
And I was like, you know, he's like, let me know if you need a ride or whatever by tonight. Like, all right. And I missed a little detail. When I was sitting on the side of the road after I had stole the water, waiting on Andrew at this point, I put out a Craigslist rideshare ad that was basically like, hey, I need help today. And I need to get to Ponca City today. Which I say that waking up on day 2 to the nice river, that picture, man, I could look at that picture all day. I love that picture. Whether it's like kayak, pack, sun's coming up, and you have this like river in front of you. I love that picture. It like brings back the feels of that time. That was like I don't know, like the best moment. The most fun I had on this trip was figuring out how to get back to Ponca City. Like not knowing who's going to stop.
Right.
That was fun. And like, oh, somebody's stopping. Here we go. You know, like it's almost
Destinies have been changed.
right. It's like put on your game face, or, you know, you just kind of got to have your head on a swivel in that sense of protecting yourself and just not knowing what's going to happen.
Right.
And it was like the most fun. Like he's like, it wasn't even a puzzle. It was like it's like a riddle. How do you think to get here? I don't know. It was like the most fun though. And I put out an ad that was just like, I need help. I need to get. At first, I was on the side of the road, so I was like, I don't know, I'm somewhere on this highway, and I need to get to Oxford, at least to Oxford. I need to get to Ponca City or whatever. So Andrew gets me. It was like I hit like publish or whatever. Andrew pulls up. So it's like I just posted it. He pulls up. He's like, I can get you to Oxford. So once I get to Oxford, I'm hanging out on the side of a Casey's, my big old bag and everything. And so I go back to my post and I put like an edit, and I said, all right, I made it to Oxford. Now I need to get to Ponca City or Arkansas City. Arkansas City was like the next checkpoint or whatever. And I get this call, and it rings like once and goes and turns off or whatever. And I get a voicemail, and it's like, I can't really hear it. I might still have it, but it's like, and I heard you got need a ride to Ponca City, and I'm Brett, and it was just like you couldn't really understand it, and that's why I was asking the guy, like, are you Brent, Boyd, Lloyd? Okay, you know, so I couldn't really understand him. Didn't really like, okay, whatever. I wasn't gonna call him back or anything, and he texted me. It's like, I understand you need a ride, whatever. Kind of talk a little bit. I didn't like how he left a message. Like, it was just like, I don't know, not suspicious, but there were some like alarms that went off in me after hearing like his voice, because he like said his name and then number. I hear you're looking for a ride to Ponca City, his name and his number. So it was like he kind of repetitive, and I don't know. Okay, you know, so we're texting back and forth, and I was like, he said he was in Arkansas City. So I said, all right, listen, let me make my way to Arkansas City somehow, because I'm having fun. Like, I'm worried, I'm concerned,
right,
but I'm also having fun. Like, let me figure out, you know, I don't want to get back like now. Just by tonight would be nice. Right. And so like, let me figure it out, you know. And he said, oh, don't start walking. You know, it's way too hot out here. Where are you at? And I was like, all right, I'm not sure about this guy. I don't know if I want to tell him. Oxford's tiny, so it's like if he cruised by, he could probably find me. And I'm on the side of a Casey's, which is probably the most business that whole place gets. You know? Right. And so I didn't say anything back. You know, about 5 minutes goes by, and I get a call from that number. All right, I'll answer. Says his name again. I thought it was Brett or Brent or something. I didn't know. And I was like, hey, I'm Casey, you know. And we kind of talk a little bit. I said, how you doing? He said, oh, I'm blessed. Which was like, whoa, red flag.
Really?
I mean, one of those religious nut jobs that wants to touch dudes or something. Like, I don't know.
Worst case scenario.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know. And it just, I didn't like that. Yeah. You know, just, okay, and then finally I was like, well, worst case scenario, I'm big, I'll fucking fight him. You know, like, if he pulls up and he's like, get in, he's got a piece on his side or something, it's like, I will fight this dude. Right. Whatever, you know, I'll take this risk.
He'll have to fuck a corpse if he has his way.
Right. I mean, well, whatever. So said, all right, well, I'm on the side of Casey's or whatever. He said, all right, I'm in Arkansas City, and again, I'm like, that means you have to drive up to Oxford, get me, drive back down through your hometown or through where you live, down to Ponca, and then back up to. I was like, totally out of your way. Why would you want to do that? Besides, if you want to fuck dudes, you know, it's like he
it
called,
is kind of weird.
Well, he called and he heard my voicemail, so I'm thinking he knows I'm a guy. Right. Casey's. I don't even think I put a name in the Craigslist ad, but it's like you hear Casey, you don't know yet. Then you hear. So I knew if he's still offering a ride after hearing my voicemail, that he knows it's a guy.
Right.
So, I mean, I didn't know if that was good or bad. I don't know. There's freaks out there, So he's like, I'm in a little car or whatever. So, all right. He said he'll be, he's leaving now, maybe 20 minutes or something. All right, so I'm kind of like packing up my stuff, trying to get it as concise as possible and everything. And all of a sudden he pulls in and he's got like this little, it's like a little Saturn or something, a little Geo Metro thing, little red thing, got a cracked windshield and everything. He's got like 4 big antennas on the trunk of it. And I'm thinking this gotta be him, And he pulls in, he like kind of stops by the gas thing, and I'm kind of still hanging out over there. I'm like throwing some stuff away, throwing bottles away and stuff. And I get a text saying, hey, I'm here. So I guess he didn't see me. He pulled in right there. And I said, I'm on the side of Casey's, and I have a giant bag with me. It's like, I don't know how he didn't see me, but really older guy. You saw him. Older guy has like the old porn stash.
Yeah.
Thinking he's a rapist.
Not a good.
Thinking this guy's a rapist. Luckily, I'm like a foot taller than him and over 100 pounds heavier than him. So it's like, unless he has like a gun or something.
Yeah.
There's no worries here. Like, I will destroy this old bag of bones. Like, there's nothing. This guy will do nothing to me.
Right.
And we talk or whatever a little bit, and it's all right. I throw my stuff in the back. He's got a bunch of stuff in there and everything. He's got radio equipment everywhere. Like, what is all this stuff? And I get in, and we start talking. It turns out he's a ham radio operator. He talks to people in other countries, and he's like a storm watcher, so he'll keep an eye on storms and stuff. And he's born and raised Oklahoma, just the nicest old guy. It's like, why would you want to come get me? Use your gas and time and everything. It's like, I'm retired, man. You're getting me out of the house. Like you're helping me out. He's like, let me call my wife. Before we even left, he's like, let me call my wife. Like, all right, good sign.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
wife.
We're gonna call. He's gonna call his wife. And then puts her on speaker. He's like, "Hey, honey, I'm here with Casey. We had just met." I was like, "Hey," he's like, "Hi, Casey," or whatever. And
she's probably the one freaking out.
She was. She was. I can't remember what he said. Something like, "Yeah, my wife would like to see me back home after this," or something. Like, yeah, man.
That's kind of like his insurance,
right? He's like, I have insurance, so it's fine. If anything happens, I'm insured. So
no, I mean, like, that's his insurance to be like, hi, wife, do you see the time? I'm calling you at 5:09, and if I don't come back to the house, it's because Casey.
Yeah, Casey here with me. No, so I don't know. We kind of started talking. Not that it's weird to pick up a rideshare on Craigslist, but it's like, especially there, it's like, why would you? I don't understand why you would do that, and it's totally out of your way. And he explained it pretty well. Like, I'm retired and
middle of Kansas, nowhere, Kansas.
He's like, your ad stuck out to me because there wasn't much of an explanation besides, hey, I need help and I need to get from here to here.
Yeah.
Not. He's like, some of those ads, like they'll broadcast that they're a female and I need to get to California or something crazy. It's like, I'll do anything to get to California. It's just like a fishing scheme or something.
Right.
To where he's, he doesn't want to get caught up in that, but he like read mine and kind of just sensed, I guess, like, this dude just needs a ride.
Urgency.
Yeah.
The realness of it.
It was just kind of quick and concise.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'll take Arkansas City, but here's where I need to get to Ponca City.
Right.
It's like, that's where I need to get to or whatever. And so he kind of explained all that, and we're just chatting the whole way. No big deal. He's born and raised in Oklahoma. He's like, he asked where I'm from, and I used Joplin, Missouri, and so then he assumes I live in Joplin. It's like, I don't want to go into details about Riverton and Quapaw.
Right.
So just kind of rolled with that, and he's like, I think I asked him something about Oklahoma. And he's like, yeah, if you have a question about Oklahoma, I can answer about damn near anything or whatever. It's kind of like, I know quite a bit about Oklahoma too or whatever. And then we we pass a casino, and he's like, now that's an Indian casino, and Oklahoma has a lot of Indian casinos. I'm like, oh, really? Huh? Just playing it down, just keeping the conversation going and everything.
I know, old man.
Like, duh, I'm filming a documentary over it. No. And so he was really nice and everything, and he's like, oh, I'm so sad to see the state of Oklahoma and blah, blah, blah. So then, of course, I had to be like, hey, man, I got to pick your brain.
Marijuana.
What do you think about the medical marijuana or whatever? And he's like, kind of was like in the boat of, if it helps you, then I'm glad it's going to be available or whatever. We didn't go into it too much. But he's like diehard, loves Oklahoma, loves it. But he lives in Arkansas City, which is in Kansas. Loves Oklahoma though. And he's like griping. He's like, in Kansas, I just renewed the tags on this little car. It was like $24. In Oklahoma, it was $70. And it's like, let's see, maybe it was reversed. No, I messed that up.
Okay.
It was reversed. So in Oklahoma, it was 24.
Right.
In Kansas, it was 70. He's like, I will gladly pay more to help the state. Like, Oklahoma is spending more than they're making.
Oh, right.
So their economy's crashing or whatever. It's like, I would gladly pay more to help keep my state afloat or whatever.
Right.
And I think that's where the medical marijuana came in or whatever. But just, dude, super nice guy. We just chatted and laughed, and he had I think he missed a turn or something. Or no. There was a semi like backing up into a gas station, and we had to like. And you've seen him. He's like 70, man. He's older guy, really small, petite, old man. And there's like the semi backing up, and traffic's kind of stopped, and he's like, "Hold my beer," and he starts turning around, just making like stupid little jokes like that or whatever.
You're right.
And so it's an hour drive, so I'm thinking, we talked good. There wasn't any like weird awkward times or silence or anything. And finally get there, and he's like, well, before you get out, are you a Christian? I was like, yep. He's like, all right, good. Like, I'm not about to have this conversation with you, Right. He's like, good. I was like, yeah, I just thanked him again, and I told him, I guess I got that GoPro with him, so I was like, that was on the way, and I was like, hey, this is a weird request, but would you mind? I've been filming this whole thing, and I told him the whole story and everything. I was like, I have footage of me on the kayak and everything, but it's kind of a turn of events. Would you mind if I recorded some of this? No, not at all, And then he made a joke of like, oh, is that to where if I kidnap you or kill you or something, you have evidence?
You both are like kind of justifying or like making sure.
Yeah, like we both had similar concerns or whatever, and got me all the way back and snapped a couple pictures with him. Just, hey man, couldn't have done without you. Really appreciate it,
Yeah.
And then he took off, and then.
So you're in Ponca City at this point?
So at this point, I'm in Ponca City, and I'm like really down on myself because it's like you camped one night. You camped one night, and I have food. Now I have water again. Like, I'm prepared to stay more nights. I love camping. Like, I could stay. I need trees. Where's some trees that I can put up a hammock and start a little fire and chill out and just enjoy the night and the darkness and everything else. And so I'm like looking around for like local campgrounds, and there's that lake close by Ponca City, and it has a bunch of them, but it's like RV grounds, water and sewage hookup and water and electric hookup. Yeah, it's like, I need rough terrain. I need open wilderness. I want
possibility of grizzly bear and avalanche.
Yes, I want like big cats stalking me, and I don't know. So I was like looking around. And
you want a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of a.
Well, at this point, I have my tent as well, so it's like if I do need to go, and they just have like spots, because like Beaver Lake, we went there with the Burroughs parents one time, and it's like they had kind of like concrete slabs that was like just tents. You set up tents, or you can park your truck, or you can park your camper. We did tents, and then they had like their camper spot or whatever. And so I was thinking, well, worst case scenario, I'll set up the tent, and then because there won't be any trees around or whatever. But it was like $16, and it's already like 6 or 7. So it's like I'm gonna set up camp. It's gonna be dark. I'm gonna sleep. There's not really much.
Right.
Not much. It's like a forced camp. Like you're forcing yourself to stay there.
Yeah,
There's not really like a fun. This might be a good spot.
Right.
Like how's this? How's this tree? Can we start a fire here? Or is it too fire hazard or like nothing like that? And so I was like, well, I'm just gonna go check out this lake and check out some of these little camp spots. And that's where I found a sectioned off beach. And it was a cool, nice sand beach, like going into this lake. It's called Lake, Kaw Lake, and just kind of swam, sulked, bummed about the whole thing. Like kayaks down there somewhere, abandoned. Said I'd rather have water than deal with this kayak, and made it one night. Sad about that. Like relishing in the failure of the trip in a way. And I don't know, after that it was like kind of swam, ate a little more food of what I had, and it's like at the end of a good camp trip, what do you want some awesome food. So I'm thinking like I could hit up a Chinese buffet. I could hit up here. It's like I don't deserve it. I don't deserve any of that. I haven't suffered enough. I have plenty of food to like stay alive in my bag. So that's what I did. I just like ate some tuna, ate a little bread that I had or whatever, and it's like, well, guess I'm gonna start the 3-hour drive home from Ponca City.
Makes me think of the time we burned the field to the ground. All those thousands of acres. Remember what we did?
Oh yeah, we went to Sonic. Went to Sonic, got burgers and ice cream.
Like whatever you want, just get it.
Yeah.
We're covered in soot. We're covered in sweat.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Well, we're probably so screwed. Just get this Sonic because it's the last good meal we'll ever have.
Yeah. But it was, and that's one of those times where it's like, I wanted to have been eating tuna for 5 days and like
some beans.
Yeah, beans, and I had a thing of cornbread that was just add water, and I had a skillet. So I was just gonna like skillet the cornbread. It was like I had so many calories still in my bag, like ready to roll, ready to eat, and I camped out one night, and I was tired and I was hungry, and I would have loved a buffet or just some like tasty foods.
Just wouldn't have been as satisfying.
No, it would have been like a breakup ice cream night or something, to where it's like you're sulking more than anything. You're not celebrating. It's not a celebration of like I survived, and you're eating. It's like
exactly.
So
you're regretful mid bite, like
I was like,
deserve
right.
It doesn't even taste that good.
Yeah, exactly. So I just thought I'll just eat what I have and head home. There's no reason that I should force any feast that I don't deserve.
So this will make you laugh. So I was kind of like thinking, okay, Casey has his phone on him because I was worried about you by yourself, and kayaking can be dangerous. Of course, Mom brought up Miss Cox's husband, which he was a more of a pro than
it's like rapids and stuff though that he's dealing with.
That's what I thought.
I'm in Kansas.
I know that's what I thought when she told me that. I was like, well, that's a little bit different. Like,
right.
That river was a little bit more crazy. And I didn't think anything in Kansas was going to be like that.
Yeah, and like if I would have started in Colorado, there's legitimate concern. And that's what Hayden was telling me. He's like, there's people that train before they go on these kayaking trips.
Right.
It's like, okay, not that good. I have a cheap kayak. It's not even like a high class. And they do like, have you seen the rolls?
Yeah.
Like that you need to be able to roll back over.
Yeah, right.
Holy crap.
This is what you need to do.
That's crazy.
You need to get a hold of Larry Cannon.
I know.
And go with him. Just go with him. Say, next time you go, call me.
I think I'm done with kayaks for a while.
Right. Well, for a while. I think the season's
another one.
The season's kind of over. But like, go with
I don't even
Larry.
have one.
Go with Larry, and he'll introduce you to all those people down in Arkansas. And if Larry Cannon can do it, you can do it. Like, he's an older gentleman.
Not that I'm incapable, but it's like, do you want to put in the time and effort and stuff? And it's like, it was supposed to be just a tame, honestly, more camping than anything.
Right.
And that's what I liked. That's what I wanted to do was set up and take down and travel. Right. Set up, take down, travel.
Right.
Set up, take down,
But anyway, so I was worried. I think everyone was. I think it was mostly because you're by yourself. Yeah. It wasn't like if something were to happen catastrophically that you didn't, that you didn't see happening, at least, someone would have been there. Like Dylan could have been like,
I guess.
or
though,
somebody.
If I get attacked by a big cat,
yeah.
it's better that I just go and not, two campers were killed by a big cat than
I see the
just
logic
one.
in that.
But I see what you're saying of like if one tips over and it's only
Get
you
stuck or
versus
something.
one tips and there's still another one behind you that can jump out and
exactly
help.
Right. So that was everyone's concern, including mine. So I'm like, okay, well, I think he's been updating the snaps pretty regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure there's like a map on Snapchat. Maybe I can see him on the river. So I do the map and Snapchat, and you're like deep in Oxford, like you're at Casey's, and I'm like, oh, what's this? So then I figured he probably just left his kayak at the bridge, went into town, resupplied, which is kind of what happened, sort of. But you Snapchat me back. You said something like, "You will not believe the turn of events," or whatever. So my freaking imagination starts like bubbling. So this is what I pictured immediately. That you were floating down the river and you came across another crew of people floating, like your age. And you kind of make friends and they go, well, we just live up there, like, why don't you come party with us? So I figured that that they had picked you up, taken you to their house where it was like another alley cat type thing where there's like a bunch of buddies and like grab a Coors Light or whatever. And then you kind of like, I'll stay here for tonight. In the morning, I'll go down to Arkansas City. That's what I thought was happening.
That would have been a way better time. Way cooler story.
Because I didn't pick up any sort of distress from your Snapchat.
Right.
It was just kind of like, I read it as, you won't believe the cool things that have happened, rather than,
you won't believe the shit luck
that
I have been swimming through.
Yeah. No, I didn't pick up on that at all.
No, it was a little brutal. But, no, I mean, like you said, it was like the experience involved. Dude, I'm confident that if the river would have been up, I could have done it. Like, without a doubt, I could have done it. Because I would have been making good pace.
Mm-hmm.
It was less effort than getting out and in. Right. So hopefully I would have sweat less, rationed better. Again, like, if the water's up, my next mistake, life straw. That's like number 2.
Yeah.
Was you got to get that life straw so you can just stay hydrated and not
no matter what,
not have a worry in the world, And like at the end of the day, it would have been gross because it's like hot water. But dude, for real, from like the morning time when you take off till like noon, it's cool. It's like cold water, not cold, but it's like cool to where you're thirsty enough. It's gonna be so refreshing,
right?
And at the end of the day, if hot water is all you got, dude,
it's better than no water.
And that was like what I was rationing. And that was like a mistake from day one. All my water's just in the bottle, cooking in the sun. So it's like day 2, I put some of my food and water at the front, 1, to counterbalance the back weight, and 2, I covered it up. So, it's been in the sun for a couple hours, but it's covered. So whenever I pull it out, it's nice and cool still from, the night of just chilling. But could have made it to Oxford. Would have refilled there. I definitely could have made better time and all that. And
so here's my question: are you going to do it again to conquer the river? Maybe like next year when it rains, like at the springtime.
I would need to do more research, and maybe even a different river. Because I would want one that you're not dragging, because that just.
But supposedly
this
this doesn't drag in like March or April.
I mean, I would think not if it's snowing in the mountains.
Yeah.
And then, springtime comes around, that starts to melt, and that goes down the river.
Right.
I just couldn't believe it was that low. Like, literally, 1 more inch, and I would have made a lot better progress. I don't know if I would have made it, but 1 more inch of water, and I would have had a lot easier time. Because a lot of it was just like, dragging. It was like, please come on, please come on, please come on. And then, you start going sideways and like really kind of stopping. And it's like, get out, start dragging. It's like just a little bit more and you can get past that. And then you're back onto the nice river or whatever. But I would love to do the similar thing because I was having a blast, dude. I was having a great time. Just the water, the life straw.
Fishing pole?
Yeah, he'd have to have a license, but kind of what I was doing. It's like you don't want to stop and fish. You want to keep moving because you have that was a long distance, you know. It's like I guarantee by the 4th or 5th day, it's like, let's wrap this shit up. I'm done with this river, you know.
Right.
But, you know, day 1, day 2, I was having a blast. Day 3 probably would have been fun. You know, you're starting to get like, all right.
Been out here for a while.
Right. And dude, my legs are like just healing up from sunburn, and there was like multiple times a day I'd pull out the sunscreen and just spray myself all down.
Right.
That second morning, I put my arm through a shirt and then like kind of tucked it up on my collar. Yeah. And then it's because the sun was on my left side. Oh, right. So I just kind of drape it over my left arm just so it's not straight exposure. Right. Stuff like that. I would love to do it again.
I think you have to. I think you gotta, like you said, do more research, get a nice canoe, go when it's higher, and just crank it out. Go make it a 3-day trip. You know, just plow through it.
It would be totally doable.
And tell people about it this next time. So it's like, have a crew, go with like if you told me like a month or 2 in advance, I would try to make time for it.
But that's where like the adrenaline comes from, was that you don't have backup. It's the burning your bridges mentality of, if you don't make it out of here, that's your own fault. Right. And that's like, I'm sorry, you know, I got people worrying about me or whatever, but that shows doubts of my incapability of taking care of myself when it's.
Oh, well, that's not why I worried. So part of me, so just explain my worry. It's just, for one, I love you, but part of it is just the circumstance. It's like, okay, he's putting himself in the circumstance of being alone. Kayaking is inherently dangerous. You know, like Caleb's comment was toothless meth heads. You know, that's what he was afraid of.
That's what Dad said. Like, careful about people on the side of the river.
Yeah, and I mean,
delivering stuff.
And that rarely happens, but it does happen. Yeah. You know, and it's like, God, you don't want to catch yourself in that. But the other part of it, I understand, is like, he's doing this for a lot of different reasons. That's why I told Jesse, like a little mini spirit quest. It's like he's pushing himself.
It's like it was more vacation than anything.
I know, but like
disconnect.
But deep down, it's like you're pushing yourself to be by yourself. You're pushing yourself to see if you can do it. Like you said, the adrenaline. You're burning your bridges. You're going, my truck's in Ponca City. I got to get back.
Right.
So it's not like death defying. There's not a bunch of river bears and Indians and shit like that can kill you. But it's enough of a challenge for you where you're pushing yourself, and even though it did not go well, it went really well actually, but that it
could have gone worse and all that.
Yeah. But didn't go as planned.
Yeah, right.
It still speaks volumes about like your mentality towards the river trip. It was, I gave it my best shot. It turned out this way, but in the end, I got experience from it. You have to feel more confident. Just by knowing, like, if I'm stuck in town, I can figure out how to get out of there. I can figure out how to get to A to B to C. You know, I can figure out how to get to the location that I need.
I had this on me, which is
okay. That's fine.
It's a little hack.
That's okay though. That's like level 1, and then, you know, maybe next time you don't take your phone, and maybe next time, you know.
Yeah, but it's like, then I gotta deal with all that your guys' shit of, I don't know, he might be dead. Do we need to call the cops on him, or do we need to get the dogs out there?
That's part of it, though. You just have to wade through that shit.
That's not part of it.
Yeah.
That's everybody take a fucking chill pill, and you'll see me when you see me again.
Maybe
you'll read about me or whatever.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Like, that's something. Blame me for dying on a river. You know, like, that was my bad. I did that to myself. That's nobody else's fault.
That would suck.
Well, I mean, at least I died enjoying what I'm doing. Being eaten by a raptor or something.
No, I totally get it, both sides. That's why I say, like, I did worry, and even Mom, like, bringing it up, like, God, don't want to talk about it really. But then on the other side, I realized, like, no, he needs to do this. Like, this is something that he gets joy out of.
Enjoying myself. Yeah, that was like, dude, I'm in like bliss country.
I said,
for myself.
He's probably researched that damn river so much. You know, he's probably done the trip 3 times already.
That's why I didn't start in Colorado. That's why, like, there's a lot of things that were altered because of learning new information. Right. I'm like, oh, I can't do that. I guess I don't want to do that. Right. You know.
I just saw it as not that it was, but I just saw it as like a boy to man type thing. Not that you were not a boy or a man or anything like that. I consider you a man, full-grown man. But I kind of saw it in that light of just like, just let him go. Like, let him do his thing.
I saw it as a vacation.
Yeah.
And because you know how good it feels to come back after camping.
Absolutely.
Dude, I was like, if I would have woke up at 6 that morning or whatever. So like there's a early morning. And I obviously don't normally wake up that early.
Right.
So then it's like, you know, that night theoretically I pull over, we'll say 7 or 6 or 7, you know, like that's 12 hours of kayaking. So then I set up. I cannot keep my eyes open because I'm so tired.
Right.
You know, so it's getting dark at 8:30. You pass out when it's still like somewhat light out. You don't wake up till maybe 5 the next morning or something. And when I woke up, man, I felt great. You know, you're getting out of your hammock, I guess, but you're getting out of. It's like a natural wake up. You know, that sun. That's your alarm clock.
Right.
And it's not this artificial. Let me get out of this artificial. You know, it's like an artificial comfortability of this bed.
Yeah.
And fake air, that's cold air coming through, even though it's 100 degrees outside at 10 o'clock in the morning. You're sitting in a 70-degree, cool. You have your fan on you. It's quiet.
Right.
You know, like that's not life. That's not real life.
Right.
Real life is you got bugs coming out, and you're starting to like you sweat, or you wake up because you're sweating, like sticky and everything.
Right.
Like I guess it's time to get up. I can't sleep anymore. You
Right.
know, I have to get up. I cannot sleep anymore. It's too hot. The sun's up. There's
True.
no way to hide your, you know, make it dark anymore or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. I was looking forward to the return trip of seeing the benefits of camping out, because I think there's tons of benefits to camping out.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, and just even the mental clarity that comes with coming back. Like, I got no worries.
Yeah.
I'm all good. And yeah, I guess it goes into the proving yourself, or the confidence of like, oh, shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
I've done this before,
Right.
or I've done something similar, or I've rationed food, or I've rationed water, or I've experience of whatever it may be, and that's, I think that goes a long way in just doing normal things,
Yeah.
and not, because we both know people that stress over things that are like, why would you give that the time of day
Yeah.
to stress over? Because it's
Right.
not a big deal.
Right.
Like, for one, it's not a big deal. And for two, it'll probably never happen. Like, you'll probably never cross the apocalypse bridge.
Right.
So why are you, like, stressing over it? Like, you're actually adding stress to your life whenever it's like, if you know that you can make it, then you're not going to be concerned or worried about it or whatever. I don't know. I did it for, I saw an opportunity in a time frame in my life where it's like, I have time. Like, I have time to take off and not worry about, you know, a job or school or class or, you know, anything like that. And it's like, what do I want to do? Well, I think I'll do that.
Right.
You know? I love camping.
I think part of it too is people, including myself, like you put these plans on paper, or you put these plans in your head mentally, and you're like, all right, this trip, this is my adventure. I wrote my adventure, you know. Step 1, I'm gonna go here, and then step 2, and then I'm gonna come home. That's my adventure. And it's like, sort of, I guess. That's more of like a plotted out adventure rather than what you went through. Rather, it's like, okay, I'm gonna get here, and then that's the essence of an adventure. Is I don't know what's coming next. You had kind of a controlled adventure. You're like, Ponca City is right there. This guy says he can get me to Arkansas City, or you know, like you said, like I don't need to get there immediately. You know, I kind of want to see where this might go.
Right.
That's the adventure side of it. And any part of any story or any trip that I've ever been on, it's the weird quirks and the moments you never planned for. Those are the best parts.
Right.
You know, the where's like, oh well, we were here, and then suddenly this person introduced, and then now we're here, and then now we're all the way over here.
Right.
You know? So
which is why I say, like, the pinnacle experience point was day 2. Like, that's what I was there for.
Yeah.
Was that the beauty of the morning, the quietness, the taking off, like, what's today going to have in store? Little did I know I'd be home later that night.
Right.
But, you know, it's like, what's today have in store? And you feel like you're the only person on earth or something, you know? It's awesome. And I think I'm one of the few people that would say that, like, I'm the only one person on Earth. Awesome. Everybody else is like, oh my god. But two, the most fun, the most like joyful was figuring out how am I going to do this? Because I have options and there's possibilities and maybe there is the party crew like, we're heading to this party, man, you want to come with us? Like, I missed that one this time, but maybe it'll be out there, you know. I don't know.
No, I felt the same way when I went to California, and people would just batter me with logistics and statistics and all that kind of stuff. Like, do you know the job market's not there? And it's like, yep, I know. I fucking know. But like I told everyone, that was the funnest part, was trying to figure that shit out. You know, every day I'd wake up and be like, all right, well, I have no job. I want to work in this specific field. I guess I'll just drive down there and start talking to people, you know, or I guess I'll just, you know, like you did, Craigslisted, or, you know, you just, it's just like a shell, and you're just trying to get inside, you know, this whole time. I think a lot of people, especially certain family members, a certain side of our family, is very constructed. I don't know if that's the right word.
It's like they want an itinerary with their vacation. Or
well, they want an itinerary with their life.
With their life.
And they did. And the people I'm thinking of did very much so do
like
that.
You know, if they're taking a trip somewhere and it's like a week long or something, it's like, all right, Monday, 8 a.m., we have breakfast. At 10 a.m., we're going to the museum. You know, it's like, where?
Yeah. Where's the...
There's a beauty in that, I guess, but like, give me Tuesday. Yeah. You're off on your own, you know?
Where's the serendipity?
Well, like when we went to New York, like, you know, we got to stick to plan and we can't do anything. Like, surprised you guys didn't go out last night.
It's like,
what?
Yeah, exactly. I learned that the hard way with California when you and Jacob and Tony and Kelsey and I went, because I had it planned out to a T. And I remember looking back like, man, I should have left some room for just chilling. Yeah. Like, why did we
That's another thing.
Suffer?
Yeah, sometimes you just want to, like, can we just stay at the hotel? It's fine. It's fine. We're in California. We want to soak up everything, but damn, let's sleep in or something, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's take off at noon today.
Yeah. Yep, totally. I know a lot of people will want to get the most bang for their buck. Like, we'll sleep when we're dead, you know? And it's like, well, I would feel a lot better if we just took this day and did nothing. You know? I know it's a hotel room, and it looks no different from hotel room in Joplin or wherever else. It looks like my bedroom. We watch Parks and Rec in my bedroom at the house. But if it is a week-long trip or whatever, if it's an extended trip, like, what's one day gonna, like, just to relax?
Like, what's one morning? What's one morning? What's one day of one for that example, or for like a family example? It's like you're hanging out with your friends. Yeah, that's who you're traveling with. Like that trip was friends. You got your girl with you or whatever. It's like that's who we're hanging out with. And so it's still fun. Like, we're still hanging out together. It's not like, all right, we're all split up and, you know, whatever. Kelsey's going to go to the spa and, Colton, you know, it's like nothing like that. Like, we're still hanging out. And two, if that's going to give you enough rest to where you're going to enjoy the evening activities rather than like, can we just speed this aquarium up or whatever to where like I'm just ready to get back home. Or not home, but, you know, to the hotel or whatever. I'm just ready to pass out or dibs on first shower and just sleep. It's like, it's worth just taking a second and just kind of slowing down and closing your eyes or sleeping in or getting breakfast in bed or whatever, you know.
People underestimate chilling. Yeah. They underestimate just a calm, no plan, wake up, hang out type of thing.
That's what I loved about this trip was, like, I want to leave that open. Like, I'll plan 4 to 5 days, but I would love to leave it open for something comes along, man, and it's like, even if it's like, you know, I'm walking past a guy's house and he's like, hey, do you have a second to help me? Like, I'll go meet this guy. Exactly. And I'll get, you know, it's like reciprocal altruism. Like, I'll just, at no benefit to me, I will help you, because at some time, and even Andrew, the guy who picked me up, it's like, perfect example of reciprocal altruism. He picks me up at no benefit to him. No, I'm not giving him anything. No benefit or whatever, you know. I bought him a Gatorade. Like, and he didn't even he wasn't doing it for the Gatorade. He was doing it. He's like, you don't look like a normal hitchhiker. I was like, okay. He's like, oh, it's a good thing. It's a good thing, man. I was like, all right, good, you know. And but, you know, here we get to talking or whatever. It's like, dude, if you go back to that bridge, go down there and that kayak's all yours. Oh, take it. You can like actually fix the hole professionally or whatever, and it's yours. You got free kayak.
$400 kayak.
Right. You got free kayak right there. And he's like, oh, you know, I might do that or whatever. It's like, it's about a 30-minute walk, but you get there, and I like sent him a picture of it. He's like, "Oh, you said it was cheap or something," and I sent him a picture of it. He's like, "That doesn't look cheap." Like, it's a good kayak, but it's a little damaged. But definitely, even Dad was like, "You want to go get it?" No, it's not worth a 3-hour drive. But if I had it, hell yeah, I'd fix it up. You know, like
really?
Yeah,
I would have gone and got it. If
3 hours? No. 3-hour drive is not worth it.
Maybe I'll go get it,
dude. If anybody wants it, I can tell you what bridge it's on.
You should get the GPS coordinates.
It's easy. It's like Highway 55, Arkansas Bridge. Go upstream. It took me about 30 minutes. But granted, I was tired and thirsty and moving slow and a big bag on my back. So it's like you could maybe get there, and then you'd have to take the kayak. But if you like it, for one, it doesn't have a ton of weight on it now.
Right.
So you could drag it through the water or even push it. Like sometimes the water was too shallow to where if I sat in it, I'd be dragging. But it was shallow enough that I could like give the kayak a shove and just kind of like walk next to it for a while. And it would just kind of be like going sideways or whatever. But it'd be like keeping up with me and I could just keep walking.
So you're not using that much energy.
Right. So I'm not like dragging the whole way, like pull. It was just like, give it a shove and it would the current would just take it.
Be awesome if Andrew went down there and got it.
I told him to. He was like kind of hesitant. He's like, I don't know if it's worth it. It's like, dude, because he was talking about getting one. I don't know. It's like, you should do it. He wants to go like fishing on it and stuff. Here's the fishing mount that turned into my GoPro mount. So I put that, that's where it was.
Oh,
it was like in between my legs.
I got you. Very cool.
Yeah, with that.
Well, shit, man. I'm glad you made it back.
Yeah.
To tell the tale.
Yeah. I wouldn't be mad if I was still out there. That was the goal.
Right.
The goal was I would still be out there.
Come home tonight, wouldn't you?
No. Was Friday, Tuesday? Hopefully at this point, I would be between Arkansas City and Ponca City.
Wow.
Somewhere in there.
Man, it just seems like you would have made that way quicker. I guess a car is just
100 miles.
I know, but I guess a car is like straight lines, more straight than a river. And
it's straight line, 70
60
miles
an hour. Yeah,
right.
70.
And I had to go slower because I had the kayak up top and everything. But there's that versus like a brisk walk. That your kayak is moving. It's like, and it's not a straight line. So you're like going sideways, and that's not getting you any closer.
No.
Then you're going up, and then you get,
Sometimes you even go backwards,
right.
like you
Sometimes
said.
You go back a little bit. Right. Yeah, and wind was a big factor. Like that first day, I was like getting pummeled with wind.
It was blowing at you?
At me.
Oh.
So that's like resistance. And then there was a few times where I like kind of stopped. Sometimes, if it was a good enough current, you just kind of like steer.
Yeah.
And you could basically go as fast as the kayak is going to go. So you don't want to like waste energy pushing yourself faster. But there was times where you'd kind of like pull up on it or whatever. And the wind was so hard that you'd like start going back sideways. So you had to like fight one side to get straightened back out and then fight through the wind. It's a pain in the ass. But no, if the water was up, I really believe it would have been an entirely different story.
Yeah. Even with the hole?
Even with the hole. Even with the hole.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of the first things that Jesse says. Like, he can walk it this time of year. It's like, huh.
So I said, four-wheeler would have done me better than a kayak. It's brutal.
But you lived to tell a tale, so that's good.
I lived, and I do a couple things different. I guess I'd just be more prepared for another trip. But again, I try not to regret things. It's just stupid. There's no reason to. But it's like, maybe I should have started on a spring river and gotten a cab or something half an hour north and then float down or whatever and camp out one night and then see how that treats me versus like, I'm going to be gone a week. But that's the fun of it. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to try to make it.
Right. Well, it kind of confirms your skills too. It's like, okay, I think I can do a week. Okay. And you go to it and it's like, okay, I couldn't do that. So now draw back. Like, I'm going to try a 3-day camp trip with a kayak.
I could totally have done a week. If I had a life straw and a river.
Okay. So
not a creek.
Okay, so in both cases,
stream.
It's
It's a
like
piss stream. That's what the Arkansas River is. It's a piss stream.
Yeah.
Like piss thicker streams than that.
But you look, so it also confirms your skills in that way. It's like, okay, I could have done a 1 weeker if I had these 2 extra things: a taller river and my life straw. So at least you're learning things. It's like confirming skills. It's confirming, like, now you know what it takes to do a week-long trip.
Right.
You know, it's like, well, I better have this, or I won't make it, because this is how far I got last time, and I did not have these things. Versus if, you know, Colby was like, let's do a 1-night thing. You're like, okay, I'll totally tell you what you need.
Right.
Do we need to get life straws? Probably. We don't need to, but we can. So
be nice to have, but not essential.
Exactly.
For a 1 night.
Right.
But
and just move your way up from there.
It's like
you go up to Colorado and go down the rapids.
The more water you carry, that weight adds up. Quick.
Oh, just think about the damn Elk City trips when we take the big jug. If you can get that big jug back there, you're in good shape.
Fine.
But
totally worth it.
Getting it back there is a son of a bitch.
But getting back there is brutal.
Oh my God.
And that's where the inexperience showed of, if you're staying in one spot, because we get to Elk City, this is it. Here's where we're staying. Drop everything. You're done with the weight, and dragging it back is going to be way better because you're going to be less food, less water, you know, maybe less TP, or, you know, like you have less. You use your resources,
right?
So you're walking back, and it's a lot lighter.
Yes.
This one is just like, rationing water is a bad idea, especially when you have water all around you that is perfectly available for drinking. If you had something, I mean, there's a few times it's like I will find where the current's good and over thin rocks or whatever, over, you know, just a little bit, and just kind of at least wet your whistle a little bit, just get a little something. Yeah. Rather than, it was like my lips were drying up, you know, I was getting like the desert shit going on. Like I'd been in the desert for a while. It was bad. It was bad, but it was good. It was all right.
Now you know what being thirsty really is.
It was a different animal, dude. And it's so quick. It happens so quick, you know. It's like, I'm gonna ration as long as I can.
Right.
I'm down to half a bottle now. I'm still like dragging my kayak or whatever. It's like, drop that fucker and go. Like you're out of water, man. Yeah. You don't need this other things that you're messing with. You need water.
And that's what they say, like people in the desert, that most of them die with water in their canteen. You know, they're found with a little bit. Like, probably would have died without, you know, if they would have drank that water, they probably still would have died. But
died with hope.
Yeah, a little bit. Oh, I'm just gonna keep that in there, you know, and then they just die.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I guess desert's a little different because my backup plan was a river. I'll drink river water.
That's, you know, yeah.
Hopefully not get an amoeba or
Giardia
something crazy.
Or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hopefully not do anything like that, but maybe get by with it. You know, you might be okay.
Right, might be moving. Who was telling me? Oh, Caleb was telling me that. No, Tucker was telling me that this time of year where he goes shark fishing, like people do not swim in the water because of flesh-eating bacteria. Because he was getting a big chest piece. He's getting a big chest piece on Monday, and then they're going to Wyoming. I'm like, oh, that's going to be a bitch. Like you're going to be all raw and tender and
seatbelt.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to get in any water or anything. And he's like, why wouldn't I get in some water? I'm like, well, you're going up north. That's Giardia. That's beaver shit. Like that gets in your chest. That's going to eat your whole
in your bloodstream.
Oh God. And then we started talking about people getting in the water and like the ocean and stuff. It's like you have a little cut or anything. There's so much bacteria and viruses and stuff. Makes me just want to build a basement and never leave. But you know, you can't live that way.
It's like I feel like I'd rather die on a 7-day trip than 40 years in a basement. Although I love video games, man. I could binge out on some video games.
Right.
Which is not necessarily good, but it's a balancing act, I guess, like everything.
Yeah, it's just so strange how people talk about death. So when you're feeling good, you're just like, yeah, fuck death, you know, I'll take on death. I'd go whitewater rafting off a fucking mountain. But when you're kind of compromised, like when I was this past week, I guaranteed I psyched myself out. But I felt like, oh man, what if I have cancer and all this shit? I got so beaten down so quick. Like I'm gonna be a good boy. I'm gonna eat a lot of good. My diet's gonna be
Right.
perfect. You know, I'm not gonna fuck around. I'm not
That's
gonna
a good
ever.
point.
Not ever gonna drink again.
When you're really far away from death, it's
Yeah.
like easy to point and laugh at it.
Oh,
And it was like
God.
right here.
Yeah. I know. The whole Christian thing gets me too, because like I would say that I'm not a Christian right now, but every time I get close to death, I take too many mushrooms, or you know, I freak myself out with a cancer scare or something. I'm like, I think I'd like to be a Christian right now.
There's a good example there, because here I'm like, you know, not happy with God. God, why did you lower this river? You knew I was coming here.
Right.
You know, like just stupid arguments like that. And then when I'm dragging myself with no water, like, please, God.
Yeah.
Please, I beg of you. I'll do anything. Please, I'm so
dude.
thirsty.
I know.
I'm so thirsty.
But what gets me is like, I don't want to be the guy. Like, I feel like Sam Harris, he's going to die an atheist or whatever he thinks he is. Like, he's going to be strong to his word. Like, I don't want to be the guy that's in the hospital and goes, fuck it, you know, save me, save me,
You
God.
lived your whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can feel it every time I kind of get like a spook. I'm like, oh, like, okay, at least that does give me some comfort. I mean, most people would be like, how the fuck you getting to heaven? Who cares? Just, you know, get in there.
Right.
Even if it's your last breath. Like,
There's got to be people that are like planning on when I get real close to death, that's whenever I'll like ask for forgiveness or whatever, you know.
Right. I don't know. Just part of me is like, well, do I believe that story? Well, not really. I can't really.
It's a bad story.
I really can't believe that. But then when death starts rolling up on me, it's like, I believe it, you know, because there's nothing else to believe.
Do you believe it for the sake of 1, life after death, 2, fear of hell, 3, acceptance into heaven? You know, like there's different reasons why you would.
The only reason I can do it at this time, and this is just me being 100%, is just because I'm scared. I'm scared of whatever comes after that. That's me. Well, that's me. That's where I stand at this point, as far as, you know. I don't know what happens after death. So the only reason I'd be like, okay, I'm in Jesus, I'm in, is because because at least that story is telling me that there is something after.
There's other stories that tell you that.
And it's probably because we were raised that way. You know, it's just comfortable. When mom would tuck us in, grandma would read us bedtime Bible stories and stuff. So it just has this comfortability of, and those times when I was a kid, I had no deep existential angst.
No.
Not like I have terrible existential angst now. But I think that's just the only connection. You know, if you told me that Shiva was going to protect me, I just don't buy into that as much. But because I was raised with it, that's probably why I wrestle with it so much.
One that I kind of like to fall back on is the thought of like the pre-birth. Where were you before birth?
Right.
It's like I don't remember suffering, or you know, like it didn't seem bad. I don't have like PTSD from pre-birth, so I would think post-death is maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not similar, but it gives me like you were fine before you were born, so you'll be fine after you're dead. I
guess, yeah.
And we'll see. Who knows? I don't know.
The only thing I have with that, because I've thought about that, because I've heard you say that before, and I do see that a little bit, because like before you were born, what I remember is just nothing. Darkness, a void of nothing. Silence, nothing. But theoretically, what was going on was the Big Bang and fucking planets smashing into each other. And at some point in that void of darkness, there were dinosaurs walking around, and everything that happened before me, you know, Genghis Khan killing everyone.
But were you a part of that? You know,
I don't know where the hell I was.
Biologically, you were. You know, like the chemicals and the
atoms,
elements that make you up, were there, or were around somewhere or whatever.
And see, I thought that, and I go, well, okay, I guess like I could probably stay dead for 100 trillion years, and then maybe resurface at some point, you know.
What, but the same atoms?
I never thought so until Dad.
That one's tough.
Until Dad mentioned that. He's like, on a long enough time scale, repositioning all your atoms.
What do they call that? Like an infinite and something theory.
Yeah, something infinity theory or something. Because it's the same thought as
law of infinite possibilities.
Exactly. Like if you put a typewriter in front of a chimpanzee on an infinite timeline, he would type Shakespeare. It's like, at some point.
If you on an infinite timeline, if you continue to do laundry, you put clothes in a laundry machine on an infinite timeline, they will come out completely folded, like
exactly
folded completely as you would fold them.
Exactly.
On an
infinite timeline.
Yeah.
And that's the same that's what Dad was saying. He was on something, dude, for Easter. Like, he woke up.
No, it happens.
And he was on something because it was just like, I'm trying to eat ham and mashed potatoes and just have like a normal, how are you doing? What mother, how was your day? And he's just like, on an infinite timeline, your atoms could be totally reassembled to who you are now. Essentially, afterlife. And I was like,
Dad, I haven't even had my coffee yet.
Oh, dude. It screwed me up so bad. It was like, he just like occasionally just lets off a nuke, like, boom! And I had to deal with that for the rest of Easter. Like, I just sat there and I looked at him like, holy shit, you're right.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. The other thing that comforts me about death is the people that went before you. So, like, if there is an afterlife, and if it's kind of like as long as you were somewhat decent human, doesn't really matter what you believe. Like, if you're an Indian human in India and you did good things, you had a kind heart 90% of the time or 50% of the time, you kind of get to go to this paradise. Then it's like, well, Grandpa's there. Ernie, Grandpa Seifert, he's there.
Yeah, it's a theory, like everything.
Yeah, I'm just saying that thought makes me feel good. To the people, everyone before you at this point has died.
Isn't that a fallacy of Christianity, though? Like,
possibly.
So-and-so wasn't a Christian, so they're burning and suffering in hell for all of eternity. But don't worry, you'll be in heaven worshiping with God.
Huge fallacy, because it makes no sense. It's like, if you don't make it into heaven, and I say you get in and I don't, or if you don't get in and I do, like, that can't be heaven to me. Right. It can't be heaven
besides of if when you die you enter like like you have a new family now. This is like an earthly bullshit family that doesn't matter, and then you die and it's like, here's your godly family, here's what matters, and here's all the damn souls that didn't worship me.
Yeah, but Earth. At that point that's not me anymore then. That's just this heavenly Colton. So it's like, well, that's not even me anymore.
You say heavenly Colton, it's like a you don't have a name. It's stuff. I don't know.
Just a spirit.
It's weird.
Anyway, from river rafting to afterlife.
Well, river rafting to death to afterlife.
Yeah. There's that small little traveling point.
2.5 hours, pretty good.
Yeah, it was a good story. I'm glad you shared it.
I guess. I mean, yeah. I wish it would have gone differently, but.
Now, it'll still be inspiring to people, that listen to it. Because, a lot of people will never do that.
Let's go again. Hey, whoever wants to go, whoever wants to plan a trip.
Right there.
Whoever wants to plan a trip, why don't we, let's plan something. Because I'm not, like, totally adverse to taking people or whatever, or, like, going with friends. I just have there's a certain quality of journey or trip or whatever that I just so appreciate doing alone and relying on myself. And it's like, you have to figure this out. And it's like, yeah, the trip didn't go as I wanted to or whatever, but I figured it out. I got back to my truck. That was like the goal, right? It was like, get back to your truck. I planned to do a kayak. Didn't happen. I still got there or whatever, Luckily,
yeah, for sure.
Luckily, some people were willing to give up some gas and time out of their day to get me there, but it was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, makes for a good story, makes for a good experience, and
I would
you'll
totally
be better.
Do it again.
Yeah, you'll be better next time, or whatever. Not even a next kayak trip, just next trip in general.
Right.
Just you're capable.
Which hopefully, well, even if it is a kayak trip or whatever. Hey everybody, catch me on SciFi And Friends to hear about my failed Arkansas adventure.
I'll pump this one out quick. I'm in an editing mode right now. I'm working on Kyle Ogle. My goodness, forgive me, Kyle Ogle.
Oh man, that'd be a good one.
No, Kyle. We filmed it like 6 months ago. I just have never sat down to edit it.
That's what I'm saying. That'll be a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one. So far, it's great.
Pump it out.
Yeah. So I'll pump that one out. I'll pump this one out, and we'll get back on.
I still need to listen to Cody. That one just came out.
He mentioned you a couple times.
Sweet.
Yeah. Finances and whatnot. So
talking finances with
Yeah,
him?
he's actually very knowledgeable
Dude,
about
I enjoyed
surf.
talking with him.
Yeah.
He mentioned a few of his podcasts that he listens to, and just like, I never once ever thought to listen to a financial podcast.
Yeah.
But the stuff he was telling me was like, damn, it's not bad.
Yep, and he talks about it a lot. He does butcher Jocko's name. I can't remember what he called.
Jocko or
No, doesn't even get close. He's like, I can't remember how bad it was, but I'm like, I had to Google it. I'm like, how do you even spell that? And he goes, he has a book called Extreme Ownership, and I just go, Jocko. But
I think his real name's John.
Oh, really?
John Willink.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Jocko's just his name, his nickname.
I guess his parents called him it as a kid. It just stuck.
Such a good name.
It's a good name, but it's such. I hate to say pretentious because he wears it so well.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, I'll have to tell you off air, but just comparative to other names, it's like, what? Go by your name.
Right.
What are you trying to do here? But he
Yo, I'm Blitz. What's up?
Jocko.
Blitz.
Yo, I'm Jock. I'm a Jock. I'm a Jocko.
My dad called me Blitz, so now I'm Blitz. What's your name? David.
Yeah. All right. Doesn't make any sense.
Well, cool, man. Well, keep us updated. I always post your social media on the bio.
It's simple. It's usually first and last name.
Yeah.
I think on Instagram and Twitter, both, it's just first and last name.
And what I started doing is actually take the video file and I post it directly to Facebook, so people can just watch it on Facebook.
Oh, cool.
Because before it was a link to YouTube, and
Right.
I think I got a little clunky. So people were like, I don't want to fucking go to YouTube. But they didn't have a YouTube account.
Right.
But now it's just very quick. They can watch the whole thing on Facebook.
But it's on YouTube as well.
Yep, it's on YouTube.
Right.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Okay.
So that'll be cool. And I'll put the Snapchat and Instagram, because most of your updates came from Snapchat this time. So if you were to go on another trip,
I just don't really. I like the Instagram stories, but just Snapchat's so much easier. I feel like.
I think they mastered that medium.
And it's like, it's a little more low key because you can. I used to post a lot of fucking bullshit to Facebook, and it's like, that's not the Facebook platform.
No.
It's like Snapchat. I can be a lot more of myself and open or whatever, and not. It's just my buddies.
Facebook too much family.
Facebook is like family and friends and any acquaintance from across the board, coworkers. And Snapchat's like I can be as specific as I want to be on who follows me and everything.
And if I take a shit on camera, it's 24 hours and it's gone. You know?
See, I had some like skits in my head that I wanted to do one where I was camping, and now you can record on Snapchat and lock it to where you don't have to keep your finger there.
Hands free.
I was gonna get butt ass naked, and I was gonna like set it up and then record it. And then like run and jump into the river and just show my ass.
Right.
I don't know. I had like funny skits like that I was planning on doing.
They're fucking great.
Never happened. Oh well.
It will next time.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun.
If you want to donate to sweet old Casey and his adventure fund, go to his Patreon page at Casye Survives.
Give it to Infinite Productions and specify this is for Casey.
Donations to Casey.
I don't want to set up a
via
Patreon.
Well, SciFi And Friends does have a Patreon page, so if you do,
that's what I was saying.
If you do donate, just put a little hashtag or something like for Casey.
Exactly.
The number 4 Casey.
Exactly.
Well, cool, man. Well, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again when it's not such a so specific of a podcast.
I think it was good though. Like it kept us kind of on subject or whatever.
Yeah, it gave us a track, a trajectory.
Right.
I liked it and I liked how you didn't tell anybody anything. Like Mom, she was like asking me. No, Kelsey asked me. She goes, "Well," I said his kayak got destroyed. She goes, "Well, how?" And I go, "He's gonna talk about it in the podcast tomorrow." And she goes, "No, fucking tell me now." And I go, "No, I don't know.
I don't know either."
He's going to tell me on the podcast." She's like, "Oh, okay." It's like, if you knew and you weren't going to tell me.
I think Trevor snapped me or something. He's like, so that's like, I think it was on the turn of events or whatever. He's like, so what happened? He's like, you'll have to tune in to SciFi And Friends to find out.
I saw that.
He's like, what? Boat sink, get raped, or he just like went through a bunch of random.
Right.
Like you'll have to hear it.
I think it's cool because I like how we went probably solid 2 hours is the story,
right?
And you didn't skip over any details. Like you spread everything out, We took a little break to talk about The Office, a little bit of break to talk about life after death, but it's like, it's all there.
Right.
And so if someone listens to that, they don't have to come up and ask you, like, how was your boat trip?
I mean, and at this point, now that it's out there, it's like I would direct them here, and then if they've heard this,
Right.
and they have other questions,
Right.
like, yeah, I don't know what other, I'm sure there's other questions out there, but
Sure.
If you have any questions out there about if you want to do this, I had a guy email me talking about the ride share on Craigslist.
Right. Yeah.
He's like, hey, I can't really help you out, but I was interested in doing the same thing.
A kayak trip.
On the Arkansas River.
Nice.
And so he was just like asking me, like picking my brain, kind of what I have found out and everything. And
Be awesome if like 2 years from now, 5 years from now, you take like 100 kayak trip.
Army.
Yeah. Like
Army of kayaks.
And you tell the story like, when I first did this, I sunk my kayak.
No, we're going to all dip our life straws in the water and we're going to try to drain that damn river. We're going to end the Arkansas River.
Just be like, people would pay you like $250. I will guide you down the Arkansas River, starting from Colorado. Everyone gets a free bare butt because they're like $20. Everyone gets a free bare butt hammock. That would be fucking awesome. You should look into that.
Yeah, I was thinking if I did do a tourist, be like, we're about to go under a bridge. All right, there's I could be like, here's Dead Man's Gulch.
Yeah,
I could be like naming things along the way.
You boy, name that.
Yeah, right. All right, everybody, you heard him.
Like just playing as a character, but it would be funner than just There's Dad who's an accountant, and there's me who plays video games all day. And then like this guy, he's bearded and he's fucking strong and like he's yelling at me. And I don't know, it just makes for a more entertaining type trip. Be sweet.
Yeah, definitely something to look into. It'd be fun.
Arkansas River, 100-man kayak.
Just 100-man, 100 miles.
People from Derby and Ponca City, they get to the bridge and they just like drop you care packages like Gatorade.
That would be sweet.
They're coming through.
Because I was also kind of thinking of that too, like live updates would be cool, or because I think on the Snapchat thing, the map, you can only see it when you open Snapchat.
I would imagine.
Then it'll update your location.
Right. I would imagine.
So sometimes it'll be like I was looking at Julian's yesterday, and it was like, Julian, 2 hours ago in Pittsburgh here.
Yeah, right.
Well, until he opens his Snapchat again, it won't update his location.
Right.
So it's hard. Like, it would be sweet if you could like literally see the progress.
Yeah.
Of me.
I'm sure there's an app or something that could go.
Maybe. I mean, there's that, and then there's like, my phone was off.
Yeah.
For on the river, and I almost brought a little waterproof case for like $6. That was like specifically for a phone.
Right.
I didn't.
Well, shit. And this time of year, easily could get a little solar panel to charge your stuff. Like that's getting better and better every day. True. And for a phone, I bet you wouldn't need more than an hour than the sun to charge your whole phone. I was thinking that,
or just a power box or whatever. Yeah. Like I don't remember. These would be like maybe 5,000
AMPs or
whatever. Yeah, whatever the unit is, and then it's like this is 5,000. They have them for like 50,000. It's like it'll charge. And the GoPro, it's like the battery was the issue, not the memory.
Oh, right.
I had a 32. I had a 32 gig and a 64 gig, and I started with the 32 gig, and I ended up still having like 45 minutes left. Jeez. I killed one battery, and I still had like 45 minutes left on my first card. So it's like it was definitely the batteries that were shitting out on me versus memory.
Right.
But with better with better battery and more battery, I would have left it on longer.
Right.
So there was also that.
Right.
But yeah, I agree. Like there's different ways around it, or even getting some sort of waterproof camera.
Yeah.
And that has I don't know how you do that, GPS or something, but it would be fun. And then have like, we'll be going under this bridge in about 10 minutes. So if you're in the area or whatever, you can come on and do it.
If you had a following of some sort, like Dr. Ryan, right? Chris Ryan, yeah. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people will do that where they say, I'm going to be in this city for this amount of time. Meet me here.
Right.
And a lot of people will show up.
Yeah.
They have bigger followings than we do.
Right.
But if you did get some sort of following in the area, like, hey, even if you made a video and then posted it to a public place like Craigslist and just played this video via YouTube or whatever, and it's like, hi, you explain yourself like, I'm Casey, I've been kayaking, and in about 25 minutes from 5:45, I will be crossing the bridge, like if you want to come down there and say hi and whatever. I'll do anything to get to California. I gotta wrap this up because I gotta go to dinner with my in-laws. They're cooking salad.
Cooking salad.
Some sort of salad. I don't remember.
Deep frying some salad.
Galena, Kansas. All right, man. Thanks for coming on.
For sure.
Appreciate it. I'll get this edited ASAP and come back soon so we can chit chat some more.
Anytime.
We need to do another podcast or something.
Oh,
That
man.
was fun.
Yeah, they are. All right. See y'all.
Alrighty, thanks for listening today. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit up Casey on all his social profiles, and like I said, I'm trying to do 100 episodes by the end of the year. It is a task, and I'll do my best. Yeah, so I'm gonna be pumping these out. Caleb's gonna be editing them soon along with me. 2 episodes a week is roughly equal to 100 episodes by the end of the year. So if I edit one and he edits one per week, that's probably 6 hours, 7 hours per week of editing for the both of us. So I think that's possible, and I will do my very best to do 100 episodes. So if there's someone you want to see come on the podcast, or if you want to come on the podcast, hit me up. Got a Patreon page if you want to donate. We did get some new hats, these infinite hats. We got 12 new hats, 4 different kinds, just to try them out, see what they look like, and they turned out pretty well. This is my favorite. And we've got the white logo, black logo. We got a camo one here with the camo bill. Once again, this one's like my favorite little trucker cap. Anyway, I love wearing hats. These are sweet infinite hats for our production company, so we'll be rolling out with some product here pretty soon. So if you want to show some love to SciFi and Friends, Infinite, anything, hit me up, and I'll get you a hat, or I'll get you a shirt or something. So, alrighty, thanks for listening. You guys have a great week. Peace.
Out.
Peace.
That's what Jocko says is out.
I always want to be the last one on the podcast with peace.
Out.
787.
Peace. 787 departure frequency on the side will be 1257.
25-7, thanks.
SciFi wins.